David, with that wind yesterday, normal par 5, I can get home on the second hole. I can get home. I mean, it's the shortest par 5 on the course. Yesterday, I had a 9-iron in.
You hit driver 9-iron?
3-wood 9-iron sight, 3-wood off the tee.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
But I was 172 from the green and took 2 clubs off for the second one. But that's I laughed. I'm like, I don't think that'll ever happen again. I don't know if I've ever played in winds like I played yesterday. That was fun.
Wow. I'm getting a reputation.
There's your Purdue alum right there. That's
Oh, I knew exactly what he was going to say as soon as he opened the door.
Roger came in guns a-blazing on Trent. Hey, Hater, how are you?
Morning, Hater. I'm going to have to eat a lot of my words if they win it all.
They're not winning at all.
You can?
Do you know UConn is yet to arrive in Phoenix?
Yeah, they had plane trouble.
Yeah, they took off 4.5 hours ago. They're landing within the next 15 to 30 minutes. Old-time hockey at the Garden last night.
Wow.
Nice to see two teams who still really don't like each other.
Tort saw those highlights and said, see, that's how you play hockey.
Tell me about it.
In March and April.
Tell me he didn't show that he won't show that to his team before practice or the morning skate today. My goodness.
All right, here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. We're over the hump. We can see the finish line from here. Hope your week is going well. Hold on one moment. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Yeah, that's how we roll on this first Thursday of April. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, David. Doing well. Had a good day yesterday. Enjoyed the day, and a little bit going on in the sports world. Not a whole lot. Kind of a mellow day as we get ready for a big weekend.
Huge NFL trade, though, and there's a huge proposal that is out there, apparently. It's being somewhat taken seriously, but not seriously enough. We'll get into it. It would totally change college football as we know it. But, Mark, if I could be selfish today off the top of the show. Good morning, Trent. How are you?
Doing very well. Fired up on a Thursday, my favorite day of the week.
So why is Thursday your favorite day of the week?
Growing up, my friends and I would always do Jersey Thursday in high school. So everyone would get a new jersey. That's why I have like Patrick Ewing Knicks. I have obscure jerseys.
Why don't you start making Thursday a jersey day around here?
I could.
You've only got a year left before we start mocking you for wearing them.
And not only that, I mean, your wardrobe is only so expansive. I mean, you might as well play to your strengths.
You're not wrong. 7 days. No. I'll do it for you.
Okay. All right. Wow. So the parents got you new jerseys that often?
It was, yeah, but it was also like my summer work money.
Oh, so that's how you spent your money during the year. You would just go out and get new jerseys all the time.
Yeah, because we didn't buy real jerseys. We bought them from those Chinese websites that you can get $20. You can get 5 jerseys for $100.
Gotcha. Okay, so then you can buy those African T-shirts also, in which you could say world champions and they weren't world champions. You could have those too.
Sure, you can find them on the black market somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yesterday, though, you needed the Red Bull right off the top of the show. So I just wanted to make sure that you could wait until about 98 minutes or so into the show before you had to, hit the hard stuff. Mark, I took a huge personal gamble yesterday.
Oh, boy.
Well, it's been well documented on this show that my wife is very anti-gifts.
Right.
Okay. Do not spend.
Don't buy me anything. I want
anything.
nothing.
Right. I mean, with the exception of chocolate, which she doesn't consider a gift, she considers that a necessity.
Right.
Okay.
Or a vegetable.
Yeah.
One of the other.
Coffee, chocolate. Those are necessities. Those are not gifts. So I said because today is my wife's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yes. Wonderful woman. Amazing woman. Soul of our family. So I wanted to get her something. All right. Things have been difficult. I felt she needed to pick me up. I felt when she woke up in the morning, she needed to see happiness, sunshine, a celebration of her. And so yesterday, she left. I had 2 hours where I could get something, sneak it into the condo. And remember, she sleeps in her room and I sleep in mine.
Right.
So I hid it in my room. And when she woke up this morning, there were a dozen beautiful roses, okay, with a matching vase and a really nice card. And I even wrote a few things in it that were, semi-eloquent. And it was right there for her. So when she woke up, and she gets up, believe it or not, before I do, okay, because she has trouble sleeping. There's a huge risk. This is home run or
you push your chips to the middle, David. This is an all-in move right here.
Right.
To most of you out there, what the hell is card and roses? No. Let me just stop you for a second. She hates gifts.
Yeah. This is home run or triple play. I mean, it really was. And so alarm goes off this morning at 5:01, and I get up and I go, okay, here we go. And she is beaming, took pictures, posted it, thinks for the day. She's got a terrific husband. Okay, that could all change by the lunch, but that's okay. That's all right. So I pulled it off. I was able to actually spend a few bucks on her. And she is going to allow me to spend more money on her this weekend.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Better you spending it on her than her spending it on random people you don't know, because that's the usual case.
Right. No, I've hoarded the money this week. I go, no. We're spending it on you. So huge gamble, Mark. We started the show off. The show could have been already in the tank. I mean, I could have been, cut me, Mick, cut me. I mean, it could have been that rough. And instead, we're flying high.
Well, you were inspired because a receiver was traded yesterday, David, and I know that got you going. I mean, nothing gets you more fired up than a receiver changing destinations in the offseason.
Mark, don't laugh. This is raising my right hand as I say this. I hear the news on the radio and went straight to the florist. I did. I was so fired up. I'm like, now we're talking. It's the Miller and Moulton League, finally. Can somebody explain this, though, from Buffalo's point of view to me? I mean, is he that bad a dude? I mean, honestly, did you have to get rid of him that badly? And have you seen your wide receiver room? I mean, Gabe Davis walked also.
Right. No.
I mean, seriously? See, as I'm hearing details of the trade, and I hear something about $31 million cap hit, and I'm thinking, oh, the Bills unloaded Diggs to take $31 million off their cap. No. So to review, they trade away Stephon Diggs. They actually trade away a 5th-round pick in this year's draft. They get nothing back this year. Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
And in fact, they take a $31 million cap hit this year, which is far more than what his cap figure would have been if they had kept him. But next year, they'll get a 2nd-round pick, the Vikings 2nd-round pick. So the Bills are hoping that that's in the top half of the 2nd round. But they'll also have to trade away a 6th-round pick to Houston as well. So that's how much they couldn't stand to see his face anymore. We'll take it's the biggest cap hit for a player who's not a quarterback, by the way, in league history. And also, this just in, he's pretty good. Yeah.
So they signed Curtis Samuel in the offseason, did the Bills, and they have
then
Cahill, Shakir, and Justin Shorter right now as their starting. That's their receiver group.
Right. Now they do have Dalton Schultz at tight end, correct? Or no, not Dalton Schultz. No, the kid they drafted, who's really good.
Dalton Kincaid.
Kincaid, my bad. They have a good tight end. I will say that.
Great.
Yeah. So, but I'm just saying,
we know what Buffalo's going to do in the draft.
Well, Mark, this just in. I think they're taking a receiver. And here's the other thing, because they have to take such a big cap hit, they can't sign Odell or, anybody else who's out there. Michael Thomas. I mean, they don't have any money. So, man, oh, man. I mean, Mark, that's kind of like radio executives who've had to deal with us over the years. Yeah, get rid of them. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, though. I mean, we don't have anybody to replace them, and they do a decent job. Yeah, get rid of them. I'm just tired of seeing their face. I mean, that's what it seemed like to me, Mark.
Man, oh, man.
Yeah. So, but that's a big trade. 3 weeks before the draft. Now we're talking. Yeah, that's right. That's how the NFL needs to roll.
I don't know if it needs to roll like that. I know you love the trades, but I don't. I like trades where we can sit there and say, hey, both teams might have won on this trade.
Well, I mean,
the Bills didn't win.
The
Bills look as if they got fleeced.
The Bills are
unless he's that bad of a dude. Sorry, Dave. Unless he is that bad of a dude that he brings C.J. Stroud down in Houston.
Well, I mean, Mark, I don't know. Because as an organization, you really can't. Other players will look at you and go, really? That's how you treat guys afterwards? You come out and you badmouth them? But I'm with you, Mark, to sell it to your fan base. How else can you? I mean, yeah, you get cap flexibility next year, but not this year.
All right. How much does this change your opinion on who the best team in the AFC East is?
It does.
Thank you.
I think now the division is very much in play. Now I can make the case that a healthy Dolphins team can win it. Now I can make the case that a healthy Jets team can win it.
Now I see a team that New England can beat.
But I mean, Josh Allen's got to come out and basically say, yeah, I couldn't deal with him anymore. All right. I'm not going to tell you the specifics and what have you, but he had to go. Him or me. And he had to go. Seriously, they got to come out and say that. And Houston can then say, well, I don't know what to tell you. He's the number one wide receiver, and he's 30. He's still got some life left in him. And, whatever was going on in Buffalo, it ain't going on here in Houston, ... So Texans spending those draft picks. They gave up an extra one for Will Anderson in last year's draft. Now they're giving up a future second for no more than 1 year of Stephon Diggs. They're not promised anything more than this. But man,
And now you
that's
look
a
at
fascinating
Houston's
trade.
receiving room with Diggs. They had Tank Dell and Nico Collins, who are both nice young players, David.
I know.
You got a good tight end.
I mean, John Mechie is probably going to be on the trade market. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for waking up with us.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Lightning are playing well. That's why that was such a good win for the Wings the other night in Tampa. Kilo's dad, as people were pointing out, since 2010, the Texans have as many or more winning seasons. They have more playoff wins. I mean, basically, the argument could be made over the last 15 years, the best NFL team in Texas is Houston. Well, DC, the one thing I will say, this 4-year run with Diggs, this is the best 4-year run that franchise has had since the 90s. I mean, they won 5 playoff games the last 4 seasons. They went to an AFC championship game. And if it wasn't for the head coach's incompetence, they would have gone to a second one. I mean, the Vikings got Justin Jefferson out of the trade. They traded Diggs for Jefferson, basically. Trent, your parents having a good time?
Great time. Great time. Yesterday was awesome.
Good. You guys doing anything?
Yesterday went down to Naples to visit my grandparents. We got lunch there, like a barbecue joint. That was really good. And
Where'd
then,
you go? What was
Texas Tony's.
There you go.
It was awesome.
Same people that own Pinchers, proud sponsor of the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Good to know.
His brisket's good.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got brisket and ribs. I did like a sampler. It was great. And then today, Mark and my dad and
Kessel are
another
having
friend.
lunch.
Those guys
Hey, Kessel.
Yeah. Frank from Immokalee.
Right. Anybody see that Caliendo bit on the Bob and Tom show?
I did not.
In which he sings Billy Joel's The Piano Man as like 10 different actors' voices.
Here we go.
Good.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We'll get back to the Diggs trade and everything else going on in the world of sports in a moment. So you and I both pay for The Athletic. You still pay for that, right?
I do. It's been a nightmare since I renewed. I let it expire and got one of those deals, and man, I've been having trouble getting on that website. Driving me crazy.
Okay, well, there's a reason for you to get on it today.
Okay.
A story in which two, Andrew Marchand and Stuart Mandel, so a media person and a college sports person, worked on this big story in which apparently, well, there are people that are trying to create a college sports super league for football. Now, we've talked about, hey, the Power 5 schools are just going to break away. Well, that's this and a few other things, Mark. So apparently it's a group of 20 people. Some of them are college presidents. Roger Goodell's right-hand guy, and some top sports executives, including the people that run the group that hired Tony Petitti to become commissioner of the Big Ten. So, we got players on this group. We really do. And they want to put together an 80-team college sports super league. Take the 70 current power schools, if you will. Add Notre Dame, SMU. Okay, they're in and they're permanent. And then of all the rest, 10 can play their way in and out of the league. Relegation. You have literally a 10-team division, which is the group that plays their way into the league and a group that plays their way out of the league. And if you make that division, you can make the playoffs, because apparently the division champion and the second place team, or the wild cards, they make the playoff. But here's what I found interesting, Mark. They actually got 2 current college presidents, the president at Syracuse and the president at West Virginia, to go on the record. And the Syracuse president said the current model for governing and managing college athletics is dead. And Gordon Gee, who's always been a great quote, going back over 15 years, Gordon Gee, president of West Virginia, said, we are in an existential crisis. And the thought behind this is that, okay, one league will actually get more TV money than what we're getting now. It's better to have one centralized league instead of the networks negotiating with each individual conference. Take a look at the NFL. And the guy who's part of this is apparently the lead negotiator for the NFL's, multi-billion-dollar TV deal for 11 years. All right. And then also, as one league, you negotiate with the players as one. And the players will get paid through the league. And then this way you avoid antitrust issues that the NCAA is going through. And so they think, and taking European soccer and MLS and the relegation factor, also every university would own a piece of the league. So earning revenue that way as well. So that's what they've come up with. And apparently it gained enough traction that that's one of the major reasons why so much pressure was being put on from within to negotiate the new playoff deal and get it done now. Because the thought was, if they didn't get it done by March 15th, that then this league's viability would take hold. So most people believe that this CST, as they're calling themselves, College Sports Tomorrow, CST, that this CST is not going to be able to come into existence until probably 2030, 31, when this current playoff contract expires. But these presidents are on the record, Mark, as saying, yeah, all these cases that are in court, like that California case that we've talked about, that would have back damages, by the way. That's saying that the players should have gotten NIL for X number of years. And there's a fear among some of the university presidents that not only are we going to lose in court, we're going to have to write checks for things we didn't do. And that literally we're going to go bankrupt athletically because of the courts. And that's why we need to do this, and we need to do this now. Mark, this is a combination of everything that you and I have talked about for over 10 years, but anything really that's been thrown out there, that soccer super league they were going to do,
right?
I mean, you name it, it's basically, it's all on paper here. And it's 20 people, Mark. This ain't, you, me, and 2 other guys.
Well, I think, first off, the collection of people they have is very impressive. But I think the little parts of it, the current model for governing and managing college athletics is dead. And that's said by a college president or
Correct.
chancellor. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. In the ACC. Right. He's not at North Texas.
Those are the part when you start getting the college presidents and chancellors on record talking about how the system is dead. Well, then they're looking for a new way. And they're listening to all ideas. And these folks not only have an idea, but seem to have the wherewithal to get the idea done.
They say, by the way, this is just for football. They have no interest in blowing up the conferences with all the other sports. No interest. This is a football-only deal. But we've been talking for a long time now about how are they going to pay the players. The boosters are only going to do this for not much longer.
Right, because we're paying the players.
Exactly.
The universities are not. The television contracts are not. The fans are paying the players.
Correct. And that's an absurd business model. Absurd. I mean, to give you an idea, who's the star guard for Wisconsin?
Oh.
And he entered the transfer portal.
Right.
A really good player, averaged like 17 points a game. And he's got 1 year of eligibility left. And he's leaving Wisconsin. And Kansas apparently offered him $750,000. And he said, no, it's $1 million or no. And Kansas gave him a take it or leave it offer of $750,000. And he said, no, I'm good. So, there you go. If you want him, it's $1 million. That's a Division I point guard.
AJ Storr is the player that we're talking about.
Good player. I mean, he's like what, first or second team All Big Ten? I mean,
all conference, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good player. But there you go. I mean, there's $1 million for a 17-point-a-game point guard. Yeah, that's a business model that's tough to sustain.
So the college football system has been given a proposal that would change the game drastically and give a lot of you fans what you've been asking. The relegation part, our fans, our listeners have been asking for this. Not our fans, our listeners have been asking for it for forever, David.
Well, and think about it. If you're not right now, when you're a group of 5 or however it is you want to characterize these schools, you can't play your way into the big time. Every year, apparently, you could play your way into the big time with this system.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GI certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's funny, Paul. That is funny. We know funny and that funny. I'm making the switch to the new glasses. The adjustment period's killing me.
This is the progressives as well.
Yeah, golly. I mean, some things are so big and so clear, and other things are just blurry and yeah.
Do you need them for distance then? Are you starting?
No. See, then I said that to them. I said, but when they tested me, they said, you need it a little bit. I go, yeah, I got to admit, I make my living doing stuff at distance. I'm pretty good.
Another reason not to go to the eye doctor. Don't need any new crap. I see just fine on the golf course. Well, no, I mean, like I play with these old guys. I'm like, where's your ball? It's the third bush on the left right there. But yeah, I mean, at 200 yards, I'm seeing a little round ball pretty well.
So they got the cash register going there, do they? On 41, just writing tickets, padding the coffers. I have to admit, I'd have trouble writing tickets. I'd want to give away a lot of warnings. Empire, it's funny. There's like 8 teams that I really think can win the cup, and half of them could lose in the first round too, because the first round matchups this year in the NHL are going to be intense. I mean, right now the Lightning would open up with the Bruins. I mean, that's a pretty good series. Yeah, DC, come on, that's not going to happen. First round's going to be amazing. And right now you got Florida, Toronto would play. Never mind out west.
Oh, David, so funny last night. We got a minute. But yesterday I get done playing in just talking basketball with one of the guys, and one of the guys just starts yelling about how late the Illinois game was and the fact that they had to play at 1:30 in the morning, and that's bull crap. And the ends, and I mean, he's adamant, and I mean 4 times he's yelling about this. I'm just laughing, but that's what it was. They didn't beat UConn because they were out too late the night before.
So that explains the 30-0 run.
Right, that's the 30-0 run because their shots were short because they were tired.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Hope your week is going well. Thanks for starting your day with us, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Good show lined up for you today. John Scott, 1 hour from now, he covers the Bills for a living. He had a fun day yesterday, huh? Shane McNichol, little college hoops. Can the 1 seeds cover the big numbers? Damn near 2 double-digit spreads on the men's side. And what's going on with the Florida Panthers, man? Only won like 3 of their last 11 games. Lightning are rolling. Panthers are stumbling. David Dwork covers the Panthers. He's going to join us 2 hours from now. Got a good little show lined up. Here's what you missed from yesterday and last night. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
So the Bills traded Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans for a 2nd-round pick next year. So the Bills have to give Diggs to the Texans and a 5th-round pick in this year's draft. And then next year, yeah, they get the 2nd-rounder, but they also have to give up a 6th. And to get rid of Diggs, they have to take an immediate $31 million cap hit. They didn't even designate it a June 1st trade so they could split the cap hit over 2 seasons. No, they want to do this. They want to do it now. Get rid of this guy. Get him. I get tired of seeing his face. Get him out of here. Wow. Okay. First off, just a quick sidebar, guys. Your thoughts on it from Houston's point of view. Like, how much do you think this elevates them? Did you think wide receiver was an issue before the trade?
I didn't think it was an issue, but they now have 3. I mean, this is a team with 3 receivers, a good tight end, Joe Mixon at running back. I mean, they are a force offensively right now. And David, let's not forget who their left tackle is.
Mark, the greatest player in the history of the National Football League. Laramie Tunsil. Mm-hmm. That goes back to our second act. It's actually a very funny bit. I just don't have time to bring it back. So the Texans. So are they Super Bowl contender now? I mean, are they no longer the 10-11 cute team? They're going to win the South. Maybe they win a home playoff game. Oh, that's so cute. Or are they like, no, man, they're up there with,
They've certainly
Ravens.
taken the next step, David.
So we talk about them the way we're going to talk about Baltimore and Cincinnati? Because obviously the Chiefs are the standard bearer. So are they now officially in the club? When we talk about who's going to take down the Chiefs, we normally talk Ravens or Bengals.
Put it this way, Houston or Buffalo, who's got a better shot to knock off the Chiefs right now?
I would say Houston.
Okay. Then there's your answer.
One other football note. Buck signed Randy Gregory to a 1-year deal. He hasn't done much the last 2 years. He's got 5.5 total sacks the last 2 years. Don't know how much Randy's got left, but 30 to 40 snaps a game coming off the edge. The Bucs right now could need anybody coming off the edge, so low deal for Randy Gregory. See what he's got left. This is not a joke. The UConn men's basketball team's plane has literally just landed in Phoenix. They were supposed to take off at 6 o'clock last night Eastern time. They took off at 1:30 this morning. The plane had technical issues. They had to bring in another plane. That's not easy to do. Any of us who have traveled know. Well, we got to bring in another plane. Oh, okay. And this is one of them private planes. It needs to be big enough. You got the whole posse going to Phoenix. It was an issue. So today's media day in Phoenix. I'll bet Hurley's going to be amazing. I mean, he might be as ornery as they were at the start of that Rangers-Devils game last night.
I don't know. He did an interview on McAfee's show yesterday, and they did at least 2 minutes talking about what underwear he wears to games, and it was some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard.
Well, maybe somebody needs to bring that back up early to change his mood.
No doubt.
To hockey, the Lightning. 4-1 in Toronto over the Leafs. Man, the Lightning are playing well. They're like, 9-1-1 in their last 11? Something like that? Man, they're a good team. Austin Matthews did get his 63rd goal of the year for the Leafs. Kucherov with 3 more assists. And I'm being very serious. Would you vote him for MVP?
No, but the fact that he's not garnering any consideration for it is amazing to me.
He carried this team for 60 games.
Yep.
Him and Braden Point absolutely carried this team until they got reinforcements and got their act together.
Most points in the history of in the Lightning for a season. He broke his own record yesterday.
And he's got 2 more weeks to play. 4-1 Lightning. So the Rangers and Devils, a little old-time hockey last night, if you didn't see it or hear about it. They started the game by dropping the gloves. All 10 skaters on the ice. They paired off. They went at it. 5 fights. This is the rule. The first 2 guys who drop their gloves and sticks, they get to stay in the game.
Right. That's 5 for fighting.
Right. And you want to throw in a 10-minute misconduct fine. But the other 8 players were all ejected. That's how the game started.
2 seconds into the game is when the penalties were officially called.
Yep. Guys were lining up across from one another. We doing this? Oh, we're doing this. Okay. Rangers are 2 in the third to beat Seth's Devils 4-3. Big win for the LA Kings. They're now 5 points in the clear for the final wild card spot in the West over St. Louis. They beat Seattle 5-2. The Stars right now are the number 1 seed out West. They were my pick to win the Cup, for what that's worth. 5-0 over Edmonton last night, and Vancouver 2-1 over Arizona. NBA, the Magic. They're the 4 seed after last night. They're only a half a game out of being the 3 seed. Orlando went to New Orleans and beat the Pelicans 117-108. And because of it, New Orleans falls to the 7th seed out west.
Big game for Banchero. Had 32 last night. Was impressive.
There's too many of these games in the NBA this year. Like OKC and Boston. Yeah, Boston won by 35. OKC now a game back of Minnesota and Denver for the top seed in the West. For the Celtics, that clinches. They'll have home court all the way through the finals, and that's win number 60 for Boston. Lakers won 8 of 9. They beat Washington by 5. Minnesota beat Toronto by 48 last night. 133-85.
Good call, Trent.
133-85. T-Wolves tied with the Nuggets for best record in the West. Hawks clinched the final play-in spot in the East. They beat the Pistons 121-113. But, Mark, something happened in that game which has only happened 2 other times in the last 55 years. A guy came off the bench and scored 50. Malachi Flynn for the Pistons came off the bench, scored 50. Hadn't been done in 30 years. Good for him. Pistons lost, but they covered. And Hawks clinch a playoff spot. Pacers, by the way, lost in Brooklyn, and that means that technically today the Heat move up to the 6th seed. They move out of the play-in by a tiebreaker over the Pacers. Steve Clifford is going to step down at the end of the year, coach of the Hornets. Hey, I'm being very serious when I say this. If the Hornets got up and moved, would anybody care? Is that now the most nondescript of the major pro sports franchise? Arizona Coyotes, Charlotte Hornets.
Arizona Coyotes, but Charlotte Hornets are in the conversation, David.
Jerry West, by the way, being voted into the Hall of Fame. And if you go, wait a minute. No. This will be the third time he goes into the Hall. He went in as a player 45 years ago. He went in as being a part of the 1960 U.S. Olympic team. Now he finally goes in as a GM and a contributor. I mean, he is the logo after all. Baseball. Rays lose to Texas 4-1. Nathan Eovaldi, 7 shutout innings for the Rangers. Hey, the Marlins are 0-7.
Yes, they are.
This is the curse of Kim Ng. She makes all those deals. She takes you to the playoffs. You try to demote her. She says, hell with that. I quit. They haven't won since. 0-7. Angels sweep them 10-2. Yankees. Judge finally homered. They beat Arizona in extra innings 6-5. Red Sox shut out the A's 1-0. Mark, one of those Wednesday matinees in Oakland. Big crowd. Care to guess the attendance?
Oh, they give the tickets are a little cheaper, so they actually draw some fans. Let me go 74-75.
Lower, 64-36. They drew 45,000 for their 7-game homestand. That's right. They drew 6,500 a game on average. By the way, there's a report that says later today, the A's will announce that they are going to play the next 3 to 5 years in Sacramento, that this will, in fact, be their final year in Oakland. Nats over the Pirates, 5-3, first loss for Pittsburgh. Tigers, Mets, Braves, White Sox were rained out. Reds 4-1 over the Phillies. They waited out a 3.5-hour rain delay to play that sucker. Cubs blew an 8-2 lead, then scored one late to beat Colorado 9-8. Remember the Jays got no hit on Monday?
Right.
They got one hit last night in Houston. Lost 8-0. Orioles scored 2 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th. Candidate for play of the day, Trent. 4-3 Orioles over the Royals. Twins with 5 in the 7th beat the Brewers 7-3. Cleveland shut out Seattle. Padres edged the Cardinals. Dodgers sweep the Giants. Ohtani hit his first homer in a Dodgers uniform. And some golf news. Apparently Rory's reached out to Butch Harmon. Harmon's kind of coaching Rory on the side. And Justin Thomas fired Bones the week before the Masters. Jim Mackay out as Justin Thomas's caddy. Bryson DeChambeau and Phil Mickelson echoing Rory McIlroy's sentiments yesterday, saying, "Yeah, we gotta come together." Phil saying it's going to take a little while though. Just relax. Bryson's like, "We got to do this yesterday, man. This is a problem." LIV is sending 13 players to the Masters. 7 of them are past champions. That starts a week from today. And at 10 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Now, the Hall of Fame's my thing, of the two of us. I'm the big Hall of Fame guy. So I'm just curious, did you, putting Jerry West in a third time, this time as an executive and a contributor, do you think that's absurd, or do you think, well, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I think you should only go in once, but since he's already in twice because of a team, if these are the criteria, how can he not go in as a contributor? He's the logo.
Can't believe it took this long.
Right.
I mean, he put together most of the Showtime, Lakers of the 80s. He obviously made the Shaq acquisition and the Kobe trade to put that group together for the Lakers. And he's still a logo. They haven't changed it to Michael. They've talked about it, but they haven't. Isn't the logo kind of the equivalent? Remember the PGA Tour, like whose swing that was? We always wondered, who's like when the LPGA changed their logo like 5 years ago, we all went, oh, wow, that's Michelle Wee. Oh, they changed. Look at that. That's Michelle Wee. All right. But, the PGA Tour logos, supposedly it's like Tom Purtzer. They thought he had the perfect swing. His swing was the closest thing to Iron Byron there that they have, that they test equipment out with. And everybody's like, who the hell's Tom Purtzer? Good ball striker, couldn't putt. but Jerry West. I mean, the logo. So,
What more contributions can you give?
I don't know. And he's never made a dime off it. Never asked for a dime either. So, there you go. That's kind of what went on in sports yesterday.
He got the shaft in that Showtime series.
Yes, he did.
He
Was
really
that Showtime or
made
HBO?
HBO.
Yeah.
Winning Time was the name of the show off of the
Right.
book Showtime. They couldn't name it Showtime because of obviously
Right.
the other network. But he got the shaft in that Winning Time.
Yes.
And made Jerry West look very bad.
Mm-hmm. That's all right. He gets last laugh. He's going in the Hall of Fame for the third time, and he could say, "Yeah, I'm the logo." And besides, my stories have stories.
Miller and Moulton. Terrific show lined up for you today. John Scott, we'll talk some Bills next hour. Shane McNichol will talk the madness. And David Dwork will talk the stumbling Florida Panthers. All still ahead on Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best, and the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
amazement for me. They were going to be the tallest buildings in the world. They were among the most iconic structures in New York. They
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We'll head to Buffalo in about 35 minutes' time and talk to John Scott, who covers the Bills, and say, was Stephon Diggs really that bad? I mean, did he really have to go? And why now? Couldn't wait one more year? Very little guaranteed money to Stephon after this year. Very minimal cap hit after this year. And besides, have you seen the wide receiver room that you guys have? We'll talk to John Scott about it in 35 minutes' time.
How much is Josh Allen going to have to run the football next year? I'm serious when I ask that. I mean, he had been the offense in the running game, and I know they've tried to fix that, but now with no Diggs, how much more of this offense is on him?
Mark, I'm speechless from this trade. I really am. Because to me, I don't see, and I understand what Mahomes and the Chiefs just did. So you can make the argument you can win a Super Bowl without a dominant wide receiver.
But who's the Kelsey for the Buffalo Bills? I mean,
Right.
they have a dominant receiver. He just plays tight end.
Correct. And, the Chiefs have just gone back to back without, in theory, a number one wide receiver. But yes, they have one of the 5 best tight ends of all time as their dominant receiver when they need a first down, when they need a touchdown in the red zone, etc. Bills don't have that, even though their rookie tight end's a nice player. He is, good player. But obviously not Kelsey. So to me, Mark, did the Bills yesterday say officially, yeah, we're not a Super Bowl contender this year? Not this year. 2025 and beyond, maybe. But no. We're not a Super Bowl contender. We've been a Super Bowl contender for 4 years. We went and got Diggs, and in 2020, we went to the AFC Championship game. 2021, we were 13 seconds away from going back. That was probably their best shot. And you wonder if that'll be something they talk about forever in Buffalo, because does Josh Allen and the Bills ever get closer than they were at that moment in time? They were 13 seconds away from hosting the AFC Championship game. But, they've been pretty good the last 4 years, Mark, with Diggs. They won 5 playoff games. This is the best 4 years they've had in a 25-year period of time. And now, are the Bills a Super Bowl contender?
Or are they the 3rd best team in the AFC East?
So, is Josh Allen and the Bills, are they going to be better without the diva wide receiver? Obviously, the Bills are saying, we will be. And if not this year, well, very soon. Okay. Meanwhile, the Texans, my goodness. Have they turned that sucker around quickly, huh? Boy, it helps when you get a young quarterback, doesn't it?
There's no doubt. Texters, by the way, commenting that there are a lot of good wide receivers in the draft, so I think the Bills will be okay. It means more catches for the tight end. Another texter said, just say what a cancer Diggs was, and his relationship with Josh. They seem to be happy that they moved on from Diggs, or think that it will be just fine. Okay.
Oh, well, Mark, everybody takes the side of the team. Everybody. Always, everybody in the NFL, fans always take the side of the organization. Organization's always right. Okay. All right.
And the Bills, if I'm not mistaken, because they get nothing in this draft. In fact, they lose part of this draft.
Yeah, they actually give up. Is it a 5th or a 6th they have to give to Houston in this year's draft?
Thought they gave a 5th. They've got 3 5ths.
Right.
And 3 6ths. So I don't know what exactly which one they gave up.
Right.
But they've got a 1st, a 2nd, and 2 4ths. There's no 3rd round pick for the Bills this year.
Correct. Also, they're picking in the 20s.
The late 20s.
Now, Justin Jefferson was taken in the 20s. So, yeah, maybe the Bills find their Justin Jefferson. But, by the time the Bills are picking, how many wide receivers do we think will be off the board? I think there'll be at least 5. In fact, that's a good over-under bet right now. By the time the Bills pick, how many wide receivers have been taken? Over or under 5.5? Because it's going to be close. The Bills are only going to be getting the 6th or 7th best wide receiver in this draft class from where they're drafted. So.
Interesting. And I don't think they're nearly as good as they were, because Diggs took double teams that made other guys better. And we'll see how that receiver room shakes out this year.
Should that be our poll question, by the way? With the Bills trading away Diggs, who's your pick to win the AFC East?
Do we have to put New England up as an option?
No. And then when people give us grief, we could just say we just didn't want to insult your intelligence. That's all. No,
I
not
like
at
it.
all.
Hey, I'm all for a football poll question in April.
Updated cap space, by the way, after the trade and the big cap hit that the Bills have to take, they got $4 million. That's it. So, Michael Thomas, Odell Beckham, and what have you. Yeah. Now, I will say the Dolphins right now on paper only have $5 million, and they reportedly have an offer on the table for Odell, which I'm assuming is more than that. So, we all know how NFL accounting goes. By the way, Bucks and Jets right now have the least amount of cap room. They have $2 million. Patriots still have $47 million. Commanders $43 million. Titans $34 million. And amazingly, the Eagles still have $32 million. Harbaugh and the Chargers have 30-something million they can spend. So, and a credit to the Lions and the Chiefs. They both have over $25 million in cap room right now. And they're pretty good. Just saying. So that's what I nominate as our poll question.
It's about to be up. I just got to do a little more typing.
Good.
With the Diggs trade, who do you think will win the AFC East?
Because most of free agency is done. We got a draft 3 weeks from today. But I would like, and I'm not comparing him as a player. I'm just comparing him into his role on the team and his level of unhappiness. But ask a Vikings fan about trading away Randy Moss to the Raiders. And if they're honest with you, they will say, oh, yeah, we called into K-Fan and WCCO in the cities, and we were glad they got rid of him. He was disgruntled. Okay, he wasn't going to play for us anymore. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's what they said 20 years ago. Ask a Vikings fan what they were saying about 4 years later. Yeah, what were we doing? Trading away a Hall of Fame player in the middle of his athletic prime. He was unhappy because we weren't good enough and he wanted to win.
Although Diggs was just unhappy. I mean, the team had enough success that the player should be fine with the level of success the team was having.
Right.
This isn't,
right.
He hasn't been playing for the Bears, if you know what I'm saying.
I get it. And there's no doubt. I mean, I understand if you're a Bills fan, you're like, we paid him. We got him out of Minnesota. We paid him. I mean, I believe over the 4 years he was in Buffalo, he was the third highest paid receiver during those 4 years. So the Bills did right by Diggs. They did. And listen, you know me and Diva wide receivers. Yeah, he was a pain in the butt. All right. Probably should have been a better teammate. Also, by the way, some of the things he was saying was correct. Just because some of his actions were not good doesn't mean some of what he's saying was not correct. But I know, they got to badmouth Diggs now. Are you kidding me? They got to make him out to be, the second worst Buffalo Bills teammate ever outside of O.J. Simpson. He's got to be the worst dude in the world.
With the Bills in 4 years, he had 127 catches, 103 catches, 108 catches, 107 catches. Over 1,000 yards every year he was there.
Yeah, he was a bum. There's just no other way to say it. He was trash. And an awful human being. They have to say that. You want to do those catches again? They're going to replace this, right? No problem.
107 last year, 108 the year before, 103 the year before that, and 127 his first year in Buffalo.
Right. So, I don't know. What are we talking about? 440 catches, something like that?
Right.
Over 4 years? Right. Uh-huh. Had to go, huh? Excuse me. Had to go. Okay. Seriously, though, And you're asking us for personal seat licenses too? No. We need an explanation. Now that we have to pay $15,000 up front for these, just to purchase these season tickets? No. I need an explanation. I want details. I want a story. I want specifics. No, seriously. He had to go. He's a cancer. Keep going. Get specific.
Well, there are all kinds of rumors about what was going on there. They're going to have to start exposing some of them. They're going to have to figure out what was true, and whatever beat writers that they have the most trust in, start giving them the information to get it out.
Oh, there's no doubt. They're going to have to pull, the John Scotts of the world aside and say, hey, remember that story? Yeah, go with it. Okay.
But to us, this was a good day for the Miami Dolphins. It's a good day for the New York Jets.
Yeah. And when the Jets get Brock Bowers in the draft, oh, the hype machine, baby. All those talking heads in New York, they are going to go nuts because the Bills are done. Put a fork in them, right?
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We'll talk a little Bills coming up in our next segment with John Scott, who covers them. Guys, I'd like to apologize right now. 3 weeks in advance, I'd like to apologize to both of you and also to many of our listeners because I am spending way too much time in my life reading one mock draft after another.
You are into the mocks, and I will probably jump in a little more heavily. I'm still studying players and trying to get a wherewithal on what the first couple rounds are going to look like. So I have not jumped into the mocks as heavily as you have.
I am already neck deep in the mocks. Neck deep. Because now in April, I don't pay any attention before April. But in April, the mocks include trades. See, to me, it no sense reading a mock draft without trades. Come on. That's a waste of time. So now the mocks all include trades. Okay, now we're talking.
I'm the exact opposite. I can't stand the trades in the mock draft because I don't.
Really?
I would love to see the success rate on what these people predict to what actually happens.
Well, we have an over-under every year as to the number of trades in the first round. And it's usually like 5.5, something like that?
Thereabouts.
Yeah. And some years we go way over, and some years there's like 3. But there are trades in the first round. And I think it's difficult to imagine that there's not going to be at least one trade in the top 10 that somebody's trading up for a quarterback, right?
I understand that. For me, it's more just which team is coming up, who's going where. We just never know those things.
Well, yeah, we do. I know what you're saying, but Denver or Minnesota is moving up to get a quarterback, right?
You would think. You would think.
Top 10?
Well,
yeah.
They're at 11 and
They're
12.
11 and 12.
So, I mean, I think you have to move into the top 5. If you're moving up for a quarterback, move up. I mean, get who you really want. You know, I have a mock draft in front of me from The Athletic. They have the Patriots, by the way, staying at 3 and taking J.J. McCarthy. And then somebody trades up with Arizona, I think it's the Vikings, and they take, I believe, Drake May. And then that means Marvin Harrison Jr. falls to Harbaugh and the Chargers at 5. And he could say, "Hey, I couldn't cover you for 3 years. Nice to have you on my side.
Beat you, but couldn't cover you.
Couldn't cover you. But then again, last year you didn't have anybody get you the ball. Good thing, or else we don't win a natty." But also, I just like seeing, the Florida teams. What do they have? Like the draft I got in front of me, Chop Robinson, the edge rusher, falls all the way to the Bucs at 26. Oh, that'd be great for Tampa Bay. Dolphins get an offensive lineman. By the way, the versatile kid from Oregon is still on the board in this mock draft, but they went with an offensive lineman from Duke instead, Graham Barton. Okay. Jags go corner. Terrion Arnold at 17. I think the Jags would love that. Absolutely love that if he was on the board at 17. For what it's worth, Brock Bowers goes 14 to the Saints in this mock draft. Jets go offensive line. So there you have it.
Yeah, if Brock Bowers is there for the Jets, they're going to take him. They're not thinking about building an offensive line for 2026.
I could argue they still needed to build an offensive line for 2024. I mean, they're counting on older tackles, one who hasn't been good enough lately, and the other who is good enough but not always healthy lately. I mean, are you sure if you're building the Jets, Mark, that you don't want to play it safe and draft the best offensive tackle on the board because you're probably going to need him at some point this season?
I could argue, David, that playing it safe for the Jets would be the dumbest thing in the world to do.
Okay.
Their window's incredibly short. They are banking on these players being healthy. If they're not healthy, they can't win this year. I really think the Jets are in a this year or almost bust situation. So give the quarterback as many weapons as you can, and let's see what we can run it out there with.
So you're both are going to have to slap me around. Trent, you're in control of my mic. You may just have to turn it off and say, Mark, I can't listen to this anymore. I know his name's on the show. I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but I just can't do it anymore. He's talking another flippin' mock draft. I'm done.
Well, we're really going to have to buckle down for the next 3 weeks is what you're telling me.
You guys are in trouble. I'm just warning you right now. And our audience, I'm warning you. I'm not stable these next 3 weeks. I'm just trying to let you know I'm not a stable sports talk show host the next 3 weeks.
David, if I suggested to you that we do our own mock draft at one point, would that help you out?
Oh, my goodness. That'd be so amazing. I don't even
The only
know.
way I'll do it is that we all three have to be GMs, and Trent's not allowed to be the GM of the Lions.
And I'll only do it if he has to be the GM of the Packers.
That would be fantastic. He looks so miserable right now. He's still smiling, but he's so ticked off that we just came up with that idea on the fly that he may quit.
I'm nauseous.
And he has to draft Zach Edey. No. I'm sorry.
Can he run routes? No.
Our NBA mock draft will be a Twitch-only show. All right, time now for our Molly Made play of the day. What do you have for us today, Trent?
I love the fact that we've got baseball to work into this now, so we'll go to Oriole Park in Baltimore. Orioles hosting the Royals, but they're down to their final out. They're trailing 3-2 in the ninth. That's when James McCann steps up to the plate.
McCann, left side, base hit. Mountcastle ties it. Mullins will win it. James McCann gives the Orioles their second walk-off win in 3 nights. Worth the wait.
Orioles walk it off again, as you just heard. One of the loftier teams with expectations in terms of win total, but hey, they got that one. So the McCann comes through for him.
The McCann, he's a terrible hitter too.
He's a former Tiger. I watched plenty of James McCann.
Yeah, and he's not a good hitter. He's a good defensive catcher, and he can't hit. And worth the wait because they waited out like a 3-4 hour rain delay to get that game in.
Worth the wait.
Orioles 4-2. Trying to keep pace with the Yanks in the East, who are off to that great start, 6-1 for the Yankees.
That division is must watch outside of Boston.
Yeah, but they're off to a good start.
Yeah, that's true. Is it sustainable?
No. I don't think so.
I don't either. What was their over-under? We talked about it last week.
78.
Did they get there?
We all said no. I will say he can really manage. He gets as much out of a roster as any manager in baseball. He's in the final year of his contract too. He's all but said, I don't know if this relationship's going to continue, but I'll do the year. We'll see what happens. Don't worry, I'll be employed. Don't worry about me.
But anyway, there's your play of the day presented by Molly Maid.
Call Molly Maid today. You're looking for a clean home and not wanting to do it yourself. Call 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839. And give your spouse the gift of a clean house.
There you go. Miller and Moulton. Talking Bills next.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The Vikings were not going to beat the Broncos in that Super Bowl because the guts of their defense wasn't going to be healthy enough to play. They finished that NFC Championship game against the Falcons, and they had like half their defensive starters out injured. And the injuries were significant.
Kilo's dad. Look, I know you're a diehard Orioles fan, but the Yankees are only ahead because they swept the flipping Astros. Not because they played in the South. They beat the Astros 4 straight games.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You got to give them that.
Come on.
And Arizona did go to the World Series. I mean, and Diamondback starting pitching is legit. I'd argue it's a top 5 rotation in the game. Yankees will be a very good regular season team.
Correct.
Just don't know that as presently constructed, I don't know how good of a playoff team they'll be.
And for whoever asked what it was playing like yesterday in the wind, it was a riot. It was that. I don't know how people play in, Ireland and England and Scotland all the time in that, because it is just miserable. Fun, challenging as all hell. We're not saying that the Orioles are bad. I never once said that. All I said is you said the only reason they're behind is because they played in the South. They beat the Astros 4 times. That's all I'm saying. You got to at least acknowledge who they beat. It's not like they played the Marlins 4 times.
0-7, by the way, in Miami. All at home, too. Yikes.
All right, we got them, and here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Shane McNichol, he's jumping on the Shane train at the top of the hour. We're talking a little madness. Talking a little Florida Panthers 1 hour from now. They are in a schneid. 3-7-1, I think, in their last 11. Looks as if they're not going to win the division. David Dwork will join us 1 hour from now. But we head to Buffalo. John Scott covers the Bills for Spectrum News 1. Follow John on X. It's John without the H. John Scott TV. John Scott TV. John, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this at this hour. How are you?
I'm good. Been able to take a deep breath after what was an unexpected, chaotic day yesterday with the news of the trade dropping a little after 11.
Well, John, we're sitting here on the outside trying to figure it out. They take a huge cap hit this year. They don't get a draft pick this year in a draft that they don't have a lot of picks early. So was this just a matter of he had to go?
Yeah, that's what it appears. Brandon Beane, the general manager, wouldn't outright explain point by point, this is why he is gone. He simply said that you weigh the pros and cons, you take everything into account, and ultimately he and the organization felt that this was the best move for them at this point in time. That, to me, if you read the tea leaves, means that they just were tired of the Stephon Diggs baggage, I guess I would say. I think it would be incorrect and invalid to say Stephon Diggs was a bad teammate. I never saw that outside of the certainly noteworthy outbursts and things like that, but those really didn't even occur this year. I just think the cryptic tweets, the never really having just a straightforward answer for certain questions, and while he's competitive and they talk about how much they like it, I just feel in any relationship with people in life, sometimes people are harder to deal with, even if they're supremely talented. And at some point, even though things have been great, you just can't do it anymore. And I feel like that's probably where things reached this offseason. Brandon Beane also would not commit to whether or not Stephon Diggs outright asked for a trade. And usually when they won't say yes or no, the answer is yes. So I think it probably was also Stephon was pushing maybe more than ever for a clean start himself.
But didn't Brandon Beane, the Bills GM, yesterday say that we're not a better team today?
He was asked why you would do this, why you would take on all this cap money, and he said, are we a better team right now? Probably not. But then he proceeded to say, there is still a lot of time between now and when the regular season starts in September, which is a clear indicator, and he said it, they're adding at wide receiver. And I think it's been the hottest topic around here already about going wide receiver in the first round and potentially even moving up in whatever capacity they could to make sure they land a really good one that they know can be impactful immediately. And that was when Stephon Diggs was on the team. Now, I think it is right on the table that anything is possible. And that second-round pick that they get in this trade is from Minnesota. Minnesota's not going to be that good this year. Who knows what their quarterback situation will be? It'll likely either be Sam Darnold or a rookie. That second-round pick next year could be really, really high. And now you take the Bills' first-round pick at 28 this year. You look at their second-round pick next year coming from this trade. They have ammunition to move into the teens, I would say. So everything's on the table. So, yes, on paper right now, are the Bills better without Stephon Diggs? Absolutely not. But Beane making it clear his work is far from done, and expectation should be he's going to continue to add to that group to make it so they are still fully prepared to be a contender in the AFC East.
John, my initial question is how? They only have $4 million left. They've got to sign all their draft picks. So there's not a lot of money. What moves can they make to free up more cap space? Because the other part of this whole deal was they're eating the $31 million on Diggs this year.
So Tre'Davious White is getting cut, but it's post June 1st. That's about $10+ million in savings. So you can almost bank that for they cut Tre'Davious White to sign their draft class. So that's kind of a wash right there. They're not really going to have a whole lot of room right now to maneuver in free agency, but that's not how they're looking to operate. This entire offseason, the theme for the Bills has been younger and cheaper, and that's why they moved on from guys like Jordan Poyer, who's in his early 30s. As great as he's been, he's not the same player he was. They want to get younger at safety. That's why they moved on from Tre'Davious White. They wanted to get cheaper and younger, even though Tre'Davious isn't even 30. He's coming off 2 major injuries. That's why they moved on from Mitch Morse, a Pro Bowl center, because they wanted to get younger and move on from a guy who was past 30 and was expensive. So they're not going to go deep into the free agency pool. They're not, I suppose anything's on the table in terms of a trade. They could explore Brandon Ayuk or T. Higgins, but I think they want to go big into the draft where you know what the cost is and get someone who is part of your team on a good contract for a long term. That's the avenue I think that you should look at to see where the Bills are going to kind of retool the wide receiver room with Stephon Diggs' absence.
He's John Scott, and he covers the Bills. Spectrum News 1 in Buffalo. Follow John on X at John without the H, John Scott TV, John Scott TV. John, is this Beane and McDermott doing what they did after they made the playoffs that first time in 2017, when they didn't announce it publicly, but clearly privately they said, we've gone as far as we can go with this group. We need to retool. And part of the retooling was getting their hands on Josh Allen. But they had an older group that snuck into the playoffs, and they retooled it. And next thing you know, after a down 2018, the Bills have had this 5-year run. Do you think that this is what they're doing again? They're just not publicly announcing it.
It's absolutely a transition year for the Bills, but that does not mean that they still cannot transition while being a very good football team and a contender as well. Do I think they will be considered and talked about, and we'll see what happens in the draft, but do I think they'll be in the Super Bowl conversation to start the year? No, and I think that would be fine. I think they'll be in a dogfight in the AFC East because Miami's still a threat, and who knows what the Jets will be with Aaron Rodgers off the Achilles. The difference between this time around and 2018 is Josh Allen 2018 was not Josh Allen 2024. And Stephon Diggs, let's be honest, the final 10-plus games of this past season was not good. He had 5 100-yard receiving games in the first 6. He had none the rest of the way. By the end of the year, his targets weren't the same. His snap counts weren't even the same. So you already kind of got a look of what will the Bills' offense look like without a super productive Stephon Diggs. Why? Because the Bills have Josh Allen. So to me, when you have a quarterback the caliber of Josh Allen, you're never completely bottoming out. You're never completely rebuilding. That's why it's retooling. It is a year of transition. And ironically enough, the Buffalo Bills are not the Kansas City Chiefs. But we were having similar conversations just a few years ago after the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill of who in the heck is Patrick Mahomes going to throw to? This is not going to be the year the Chiefs are the Chiefs. And lo and behold, they've won back-to-back Super Bowls. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen for the Bills because they have not proven that they earn the right to be part of a conversation like that. But it just shows that when you have a quarterback that is one of the best in all of football, you still can stay at the top of football regardless of the supporting cast.
The only thing I'd counter to that with John is that he has a Kelsey. Who does Josh Allen have that's his Robin, if you will? There's got to be someone that you can rely on. And right now, when I look at this roster, I don't see who Josh Allen can rely on.
100%, it's not proven. But they traded up to draft Dalton Kincaid, who I think it was a bit far-reached and unfair to Kincaid. But his comp by a lot of people was Travis Kelce. And I think he is someone that maybe, as you talk about transitioning with Joe Brady, now the Bills offensive coordinator, maybe the offense looks different. It operates different. And instead of funneling 160 targets a year to one guy like Stephon Diggs, maybe you're using the mismatch of a Dalton Kincaid. Maybe it's more of a collective with Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir and whoever they draft and James Cook out of the backfield, who was a Pro Bowl running back. Maybe it just looks different. And then Josh Allen just plays like Josh Allen. So I agree. Again, I'm not saying the Bills are going to do what the Chiefs did. The Bills have not proven that to earn the right to be that. But it's more of the point of when you have the quarterback and just because you lose the superstar wide receiver, that doesn't mean the sky is falling and the team is now going to miss the playoffs automatically.
John, a final question. What is your audience telling you? Do they still have the trust, the faith in Bean and McDermott, or are they letting you know that I think we may have peaked with this group and that right now we're just kind of on a treadmill?
Two separate conversations. I think people like Brandon Bean. They trust Brandon Bean. And I think after the sticker shock of trading Stephon Diggs, I think people have kind of reasoned themselves into understanding it'll be okay. The Sean McDermott conversation is completely different. He's been on the hot seat through the fan base dating back to 13 seconds a few years ago. And then the exit to the Bengals unexpectedly a few years ago and then losing to Kansas City again this year. This is a critical year for Sean McDermott. Terry Pegula, the Bills owner, he doesn't like a lot of turnover because he dealt with a lot of it, certainly with the football team early in his tenure of owning it, and a lot on the hockey side of things with the Buffalo Sabres, who've missed the playoffs now 13 straight years. So I don't think it's going to happen even if the Bills miss the playoffs this year. But from a fan base perspective, they got the pitchforks out and have for years for Sean McDermott. And if any little misstep and they miss the playoffs or they're a wild card team or they get bounced again early in the postseason, I even think I could get on board a bit with having the conversation of sometimes you can have good head coaches who can just take you so far. And that's where maybe we will be depending upon how this season plays out for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, it's been a hell of an offseason. They've gotten rid of a bunch of popular guys. The ownership is charging 15 to 50,000 PSL fees, and now they trade Diggs. I mean, boy, you've had nothing to talk about, huh?
Yeah, it's. I always try to explain to people who aren't big into the NFL, there really is no off season. It's almost more chaotic, and and this one certainly has taken the cake. That day they released Jordan Poyer, Mitch Morse, Tre'Davious White. I truly, in my career, and I've been here 10 years, I've been in TV nearly 20, I've never seen anything like that. And then people who've been in the Buffalo area longer than I have reminded me that their last great run of the organization, certainly those 4 straight Super Bowls, that team let go of Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, and Bruce Smith all in the same day. So the organization, the fan base, if you're old enough, has gone through some madness in the offseason of kind of understanding and reconciling with the turning of a page of a great era. It's a transition time here in Buffalo, but again, I don't think anyone should just put them to pasture just quite yet.
John, thanks for making time for us. We really appreciate it. All the best through the draft, and hopefully we can talk to you afterwards.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
John Scott covers the Bills, Spectrum News 1 television in Buffalo. Follow him on X, John without the H, JON Scott TV. John Scott TV is how you follow him. Miller and Moulton.
Well, he painted the glass a little more half full than we do.
I'll tell you what, though, his initial reaction, if you follow him on X, his initial reaction was, what the heck's going on? Wow. Somebody's got to explain some stuff to me. I'm not getting this. The one thing I will throw out there, it's very interesting. A lot of people remember the Diggs numbers. Diggs did better with Ken Dorsey as offensive coordinator. A lot of people think that the Bills made the right decision getting rid of Dorsey and going with Joe Brady. Diggs' numbers after the change at offensive coordinator are stunningly different. And so Houston, they even said, the way we're going to use him, trust me, he'll be fine.
Okay. There's a better receiving core in Houston now than I think there was in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
With the three and the tight end that they have, and Mixon. So how many targets is Diggs going to see in Houston? And will he be happy only seeing a limited number of targets compared to what he was getting in Buffalo?
I think he'll see less targets and he'll have less receptions. But, Mark, I think his yards per catch are going to go up back closer to what they were with the Vikings in his first year in Buffalo. I think he'll be downfield more. Miller and Moulton. We're going to switch gears. We're going to talk the madness. Hell, UConn just arrived in Phoenix.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You're a big fan of Maker's Mark, correct?
What's that?
You're a big fan of Maker's Mark, right?
No.
No? Okay, because I'm reading something apparently along the lines of baseball promotions. At Cubs games, they have $149 for the Maker's Mark Barrel Room. 2 hours of pregame food and drink plus in-game food and drink on top of some of the best seats at Wrigley.
Huh.
$149. I'm in.
Yeah.
Did you see what Ionescu did for Iowa? She gifted the entire team with Nike gear when she spoke to the team and basically said, hey, enjoy this because you'll never be in another room like this again. Because she made the Final Four at Oregon. I'm just laughing. The up top shots of the Rangers Devils fight. People from the rafters.
Fantastic.
They're great.
Mark, I did want to use that as the play of the day, but I couldn't find the radio call because the TV was just, you couldn't hear anything. You couldn't hear what the guy was saying.
I heard the radio on the radio this morning.
Gotcha.
By the way, the J.J. McCarthy stuff is out of control. Out of control. They're now talking he goes number 2 to the Commanders. It's out of control.
I'll take Daniels, Irish football. Yes, with that elbow.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We'll talk a little hockey in about 35 minutes' time. The Lightning on a 9-1-1 run, but the Panthers on a 3-7-1 run. So we'll go, sometimes you can go the good, you can go with bad, you can go the ugly. We'll go with the bad. We'll talk to David Dwork and the Panthers coming up in about 35 minutes and say, what in the wide world of sports is going on here? That's with David Dwork in a bit. Shane McNichol's kind enough to join us once again. He covers college hoops, Action Network, PalestraBack.com, PalestraBack.com. Follow him on X, on the Shane train, Shane, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
Doing great. It's Final Four week, right?
Absolutely. Listen, do you just lay the big numbers with the 1 seeds, or do we think Bama and NC State are going to be competitive?
Yeah, when those lines both came out, that was my move to go with the favorites. Obviously in March or obviously in early April, that never feels good, but it just feels like both of those teams are on a mission to get to the national title. I mean, UConn's gonna bellyache about not being able to get on a plane last night, but I still think they're the far better team than Alabama. And Purdue, I think, outclasses NC State. So that's my where I start from. But obviously, this is March Madness. Both of those teams have a chance, but they'll need things to go their way.
What does Alabama have to do in order to beat UConn? I mean, obviously, we watched Illinois, who could score the basketball, not score at all. Alabama obviously has to shoot better. That's no doubt there. But what else is Alabama going to have to do to be competitive with UConn?
Yeah, certainly that Alabama defense that we've seen in March that has stepped up to a new level will have to continue. But I think in order for them to beat UConn, they have to outscore them. Nate Oates runs his offense almost like an NBA offense. He's a former math teacher who believes in modern analytics. The last game, every single shot they took was either in the paint or from three. They scored 100 points like 6 or 7 times this year. I think in order for them to have a chance, they got to go out and shoot like 35 threes and try to make 15, 16, 17 of them and dare UConn to try to score 100 with them. And UConn is certainly capable of that, especially with the way the Alabama defense has performed at times this year, and especially since Alabama doesn't necessarily have an answer for Donovan Clingan in the post. But I certainly think the math there can make sense. If Alabama just says, hey, we're going to run, we're going to throw up 43 and try to make 20 and dare you to do the same, UConn doesn't necessarily always have that there, but I think Danny Hurley's smart enough to know how to control the pace. His team runs those long sets and uses the shot clock. So even if Alabama has an outlier shooting performance, I think UConn can hang in there and win that game as the favorite.
But can Alabama also hang their hat, Shane, on the fact St. John's put 90 on UConn in the Big East tournament, and Creighton put, I think, around 90 when they beat them in mid-February. I know UConn defensively has been suffocating, but there have been a couple of teams who have been able to shoot it and score it against them.
Yeah, Creighton would be the one that you would point to. They play not fully a similar style as Alabama because they play a little slower, but they look for the three as well. And I think you're right that UConn defense here and there can show some weaknesses. To me, the real weakness with that UConn defense is if you have 3 or 4 playmakers with the ball and you're making all 5 UConn defenders be engaged and be stoppers, especially Cam Spencer, who I think is the weak link of that defense. But it's so rare for UConn to face a team whose third best ball handler is able to take advantage of that time and time again. Alabama has Mark Sears. They have Escobar. I don't know that they have enough pieces that it's just going to be time and time again down the floor, making Spencer defend possession after possession. And even if you do that, he's got Donovan Clingan behind him. That's a pretty safe bet.
DJ Burns has been the darling of this tournament. Now he goes against the biggest man in this tournament. I don't know how he scores as effectively as he has been. What does DJ Burns have to do to be able to do anything against the big man?
Yeah, it makes for a really interesting matchup because to me it feels like Burns gets so many of the opportunities from his feet. You see that imposing body and you think he's just going to be a bruiser, but it is his footwork, and I think that's what everyone has kind of fallen in love with. It's those spin moves, the up and unders and things, and I think Zach Edey can kind of just stand there, let him do all of that, and stand there with his arms up and make him shoot the hook shot over his 6'7" frame. The question becomes, if Burns is having any level of success, does Purdue ever have to double Burns? I don't think so. And then you're just talking about an NC State offense that your choices are everybody else on the perimeter. DJ Horn is a good player, but I don't know that he's enough to outscore Purdue.
Shane, it seems as if teams have been trying to get physical with Edey. I don't know if there's another way to play him, but this whole beat him up and racking up all the fouls, Purdue's a really good free throw shooting team. Purdue seems to laugh at teams who play them this way when 8 minutes to go in every half, they're shooting free throws in the bonus, and then they end up scoring 20 more points from the line than their opponents. I mean, if I'm NC State, I don't know, can you defend Edey without fouling him? Because if I'm NC State, I'm like, listen, I'm tired of Purdue shooting free throws. I at least want them to hit shots if they're going to beat us.
Yeah, the way that Purdue is officiated is a huge deal. I think you're right that a lot of teams have tried to be physical with Edey, but I think that's kind of their only option. I think the other thing you didn't mention is foul trouble. NC State does not want DJ Burns sitting on the bench with fouls or any of their other bigs, because those are guys you need on the floor to defend Edey. I mean, you saw Gonzaga, Graham Ike fouled out with like 3 or 4 minutes left. All of their bigs were in foul trouble. Tennessee had several players in foul trouble as well. So that really adds up on both ends of the floor for you. The question becomes, do the officials give Edey too many calls? Does he get away with some things? I kind of think it ends up being both. I think Edey's allowed to be very physical because he's so big that the officials will say that, well, he's just simply bigger than that guy. He can reach over him. It's not over the bat. Or he can turn and his elbow hits the guy in the chest and sound off its foul because that's just where his elbow is, that kind of thing. But then on the other side, people can be probably a little too physical where he doesn't get every call. But I think Purdue, you're happy to take that trade because even if he's not getting every call, him being on the floor and not racking up his own foul is the biggest deal possible. So as long as Zach Edey's on the floor, I think Purdue is happy with however the game is officiated. If he racks up too early fouls, then we start to see some interesting things. But I still think, even if Zach Edey heads to the bench, this is crazy, but Trey Kaufman-Redd's a really solid player. I think he could do a fine job on DJ Burns. I still think Purdue would be in a good spot there.
Yeah, I just don't know if there's, you have to count on Purdue not being able to make shots and take, to me, you let Edey have his, take Smith out of the game and don't let him score at all and take your chances. I don't know if NC State has a lot of options in this game. What's their best course to try to defend Purdue?
Yeah, I certainly don't think DJ Burns is big enough to guard Zach Edey. I mean, he's wide enough, but I don't think he's tall enough, and I think Edey can simply turn and shoot over him. But you're right, that if you double, this Purdue team is one of the 10 best three-point shooting teams in the country, and I know that the broadcast in the last game really stressed that was Matt Painter's goal over the whole offseason. They brought in Lance Jones. Everyone around the outside there is 35, 36% shooters or above. Most of them are 40% shooters, especially when they bring in Mason Gillis at the 4 instead of Trey Kaufman-Redd. I wouldn't want to double down on Edey. I think you're right. Let him get his. I mean, Tennessee did that and he went for 40 and nobody else hurt them, but Tennessee was in the game at the end. So I think that's where you have to lean. Hopefully your big guys don't get in foul trouble doing that, but it's hard to leave them on an island and expect it. But I think if everyone goes in knowing that that's the game plan, that's better than getting hit with a barrage of threes.
Talking the Final Four with Shane McNichol. Shane, let's just say the two, one team's 9.5, one team's 11.5. So basically the two double-digit favorites, the 1 seeds, let's say they win. What's your gut feeling about the UConn-Purdue matchup?
I think it would be really hard to not think of UConn as a not substantial favorite, but certainly the favorite. Just the way that they have mowed through this tournament has been kind of unbelievable. They've only lost 1 game since Christmas Day. This team they're better than UConn was last year. Hurley has proven himself to be one of the best coaches in the country. Not that Painter's not, but it would be hard to pick apart what UConn has done and suggest that anybody would have a chance. Nobody's been even close. Now, if you were going to build a team that would have a chance, it looks a little bit like Purdue, because Edie and Klingon would be like King Kong and Godzilla in the post on both sides. And again, you'd be talking about the officials, because one of those two guys is going to get 2 fouls in the first half, and it would be crucial that his team would then go on that run. But then beyond that, like we talked about with Alabama, if UConn doesn't double Zach Edey, which they wouldn't have to if Klingon's in there, even with Samson Johnson, the backup center, in there, they probably don't have to. But if Purdue can find a way to get those threes up, they can make UConn have to try to score with them a little bit. So it would be a fantastic game. I mean, everyone loves an upset, but in this case, I think a lot of people are going to be rooting to see that game, because it would be the best game of this tournament, hopefully.
Shane McNichol, Action Network, PalestraBack.com. Follow him on X, on the Shane Train. On the Shane Train. Shane, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Safe travels.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the game.
Shane McNichol talking the Final Four, the men's Final Four. Nikki Collin, the Baylor women's coach, will join us tomorrow around this time after Pat Kerwin. Our 8 o'clock hour tomorrow will be Pat Kerwin talking NFL and Nikki Collin to preview the women's Final Four.
Tickets for the women's Final Four dwarfing the prices of the men's Final Four.
Now, in part, though, because it's, Rocket
Smaller
Mortgage
venue.
Arena,
Yeah.
right? 20,000 seat arena versus where the Cardinals play. In
Correct.
Phoenix. Right.
But still, $2,400 for a ticket for the women's Final Four is pricey.
It really is.
I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Yep.
That's the thing. Like, we don't need to compare it to the men's just to kind of bring it down. You know what I mean? Like, it can still be. This is unprecedented for the women's tickets, so that's awesome.
She is a phenomenon. There's no question about it. And tomorrow night, 9:30 at the earliest. 9:30 at the earliest. It could be 9:45. It'll be Iowa and UConn.
Gonna need a nap. Telling you right now, I'm taking a nap to watch women's college basketball. That's how far we've come, David.
That's how much of a phenomenon that she is. I just love that UConn is the other team. I mean, I just love that. It took 30 years for UConn to be the other team.
I think UConn is enjoying being the other team as well, David.
And I'm sure they'll try to use it to their advantage. Miller and Moulton. David Dwork will join us in 25 minutes. What's going on with the Panthers?
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Damn.
Holy blank.
What's that?
Elephant.
Yeah. Killed an American tourist.
Yeah.
Why'd you stop the damn car? Elephant went elephant.
Apparently, there was like something blocking the path.
Where was this?
Africa. They were on a safari, and a bull elephant went elephant, David. Flipped the vehicle over, killed an 80-year-old woman.
Yes, I did when FGCU was still D2, their final year at D2. They opened the season on the road with a Drexel Penn road trip. And I think they lost both games, but the Penn game was at the Palestra.
If the Chargers get Marvin Harrison Jr. at 5, that'll be something.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Harbaugh be laughing.
Oh, man.
Justin Herbert be happy. Oh, man.
And I'm looking at this mock with Joe Alt going 7th to Tennessee. How happy would they be to get the best tackle in the draft at 7?
Be very happy. So who the Giants took a wide receiver at 6?
Yeah. Adunzi.
I will say very few people have Penix going in the first round. They have Bo Nix going to Denver before they have Penix going to anybody in the first round.
He has Penix going 13 to Vegas. What I'm reading right now.
Who's this?
It's on The Athletic. Hang on. Bruce Feldman.
Yeah, that's a college guy. You got to have some NFL sources. I don't know how many people Bruce is talking to in the NFL. But But all of a sudden, this J.J. McCarthy to the Commanders is getting momentum. That's the hype train right now.
All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. David Dwork, who covers the Florida Panthers, the struggling Florida Panthers. He'll join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Lightning on a 9-1-1 stretch. They've solidified their playoff spot. They're trying to challenge Toronto to maybe not be a wild card and to finish third. You finish third in that division right now. You're playing the Panthers in the first round.
And who wouldn't want to play the Panthers right now in the first round?
Even though it was 3 weeks ago in which they looked like the best team in the league.
Right. Funny
now,
how a month can change things.
Right. Now Toronto's like, let's play Florida in the first round. Be Boston, Tampa Bay. First round playoff series right now in the East. How good would that be?
That side is going to be unbelievable no matter what.
And for that matter, hell, Vegas is trying not to just be a wild card team out west. I mean, the West is going to have some interesting matchups as well. But we'll talk a little pucks with David Dwork. By the way, if you're Gary Bettman, you do anything to the Rangers and or Devils about the start of that game last night? A brawl?
Send him a check?
Well, that's...
Are you kidding me? Do I do anything? Yeah, I call him up and say, great job, boys. Way to go.
I think it's the final meeting of the year between them. I don't think they play again. But if you missed it, and it was on TNT, but, at the drop of the puck last night, both teams sent out their fourth lines. They sent out their toughest guys, and the goalie sat it out, but everybody else squared up and went at it. 5 fights at the drop of the puck.
And the announcers knew one fight was going to happen.
Right.
They were pretty sure the big fella for the Rangers was being challenged and going to drop the gloves. They, in fact, were talking about it. They weren't even talking about the two face-off participants, if you will. They were talking about the two guys they thought were going to go. And then all of a sudden, there were 10 sets of gloves on the ice.
Right. I guess the Rangers decided as a team, fine, if you're challenging him, you're challenging all of us. Okay. Old-time hockey, boys. A couple of the fights were mismatches. I thought the Ranger big guy got beat.
I did too.
Yeah, no, the Devils tough guy beat him. The Ranger big guy is big, but he doesn't really know how to fight yet. So, but I just wondered if you're Gary Bettman, hey, listen, there's a big difference between David Stern and Adam Silver. Adam Silver would lose his absolute mind. I mean, he suspends you for, spitting out gum. I mean, Adam Silver is soft as a commissioner. The one thing, David Stern was hardline about if you came on the court or if you went into the stands. But, Silver's suspending guys multiple games for stuff that would have been a hard foul a generation ago.
I don't think Bettman, in all seriousness, David, I don't think he does a thing. The referees handled it by the book, exactly how they were supposed to.
Yep.
The first two combatants got 5 for fighting. Everybody else got the gate.
And the Rangers actually put better players on the ice. It was actually a big loss for the home team. I mean, they lost their number 2 defensive pair.
Yeah, but they didn't lose.
Right.
I mean, put it this way. I would go to New Jersey to see the Devils and Rangers game 1 next year whenever they play. Because this has staying power.
Oh, yeah. No. They genuinely don't like each other. And we don't know how many of those rivalries exist in that sport anymore. Boston and Montreal still genuinely don't like each other. Players come and go. There's a thing about seeing that other uniform. They don't like each other.
And that's hard for me as a Wings fan because they lost their rivals. Their rivals were Chicago and Colorado. Well, they're not in that conference. They don't play much anymore.
Never mind the fact this style of play, it
doesn't exist.
Right.
And probably good for my Red Wings because they're soft as baby do.
So, how intense can the rivalries be? But this is also, and we've talked about this, the Rangers and Islanders, just for an example, they went 14 months without playing each other. And also, what do you play 3 times a year now?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, doesn't that seem light? It's the whole debate about how important is it to see Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid, who are playing on Western Conference teams. We talk about this in baseball all the time. They're down to 13 division games because you play everybody. And it doesn't mean they necessarily come to your ballpark. Baseball hasn't gone that far. It's not like Ohtani is going to be in 29 ballparks this year. But your team will play Ohtani at least one series. I don't think Trout and the Angels, I thought I saw it. Are they on? Do they come to the Trop? Or was that, their only trip to Florida to play the Marlins?
No, the Angels are here next week, actually.
Okay.
And playing 4 games against the Rays.
So,
including a Thursday 1:00, Trent.
Already planning to play hooky. That's the first day of the Masters, though.
Oh, yeah, that won't
next week.
No, following week.
Oh, okay.
18th.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Big difference between 11th and the 18th. Big. That's the perfect Thursday. The 11th start of the Masters, 25th, day of the draft.
A lot of Jersey Thursdays coming up here.
I wish I still had all my hockey jerseys. I'd shock you and come rolling in one of the sweaters that I've got. They gave them all to my kid because I was past the day of wearing them. Here you go.
Did you, as a substitute teacher, stick with Jersey Thursday? Because I'll bet the kids would have loved that.
I wore Lions jerseys on Thursday, yes. A different Lions jersey every Thursday. I mean, I had to, go back to the beginning of the pecking order, but yeah. You only have so many of them.
Well, I'm a little afraid to ask just how many you have. I got to be honest.
I think I got around 12.
Wow.
12 Lions jerseys?
12 that still fit.
Well, no. We can. What do you mean still fit?
He had him when he was a kid. He had him when he was a kid, when he was little.
Oh, I was going to say he's 163 pounds.
I do still occasionally squeeze into the Youth XL Calvin Johnson jersey and go run routes in the front yard.
I love it.
I want Jersey Thursday to be a part of the show. I'm making it a new part of your job requirements.
Okay. I can do that.
We'll take pictures. We'll post them. All right. Trent, Jersey Thursday. We can get a sponsor, can't we? Yeah, it's got to be places that sell jerseys, right?
Or Jersey Mike.
That's what I was thinking.
We can sell. I can come up with sponsorship ideas. It's just getting the company to sign on the dotted line seems to be the difficult part.
Well, and then getting paid the commission, but that's a whole other story.
21,000. That's the text line.
Oh, look at the time.
Moulton on X. Hello.
Wow, look at the time. David Dwork to join us in a bit to talk hockey. Stephon Diggs traded to the Texans. Are we going to take the Texans now and put them? Are we going to talk more highly of the Texans this offseason than we were about the Jags last offseason?
Hell yes.
So you're taking the Texans more seriously heading into 24 than you were taking the Jags because they had identical seasons. They won the South. They won a home playoff game. They went on the road. Texans played the Ravens tough for a half. Jags actually played the Chiefs tough in the division round.
Yeah.
So you're taking the Texans seriously.
You have to.
If you say so. David Dwork talking Panthers next.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Shocking, David. The poll question on Get Up this morning is similar to what ours is, and 3 of the 4 are taking the Jets to win the division.
That's shocking.
I know it doesn't matter because they can't beat anybody, but literally the Panthers only play 2 playoff teams the rest of the season. They've got 2 with the Senators. They've got Buffalo. They've got Columbus. They've got Boston, and they've got Toronto.
Wait, run that by me again.
They only play 2 playoff. They got 6 games left. They got 1 at Boston, 1 at home against Toronto. The rest of their games are against Ottawa, Columbus, and Buffalo. I mean, in theory, they should win 4 of 6 just by showing up.
Yes.
I'll actually call on time this time. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
You got it fast. You were quick with your fingers.
You're a hunter and a pecker. Okay, with your, with your fingers there.
You're hoping so, aren't you, Adam? I'm starving.
That number isn't going through.
Golly.
I'll keep trying it, but it's doing the beeping. Won't even ring.
And we had this problem before with him.
And I don't have his number in my phone to check it.
Yep, nothing. You want to have him call the studio?
I'm trying.
We're having guest problems right now. Oh God. Phone number's not working.
Anything I can help with?
No. Thank you though. Shane just poked his head in and said good morning.
Here we go.
There you-
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Having a little trouble reaching David Dwork. This happened last time. We're going to try to have him call us. So, Trent, be ready. The hotline may be a-ringing. I want to talk a little hockey with the guy who covers the Panthers for Channel 10 in Miami and also the hockey news, David Dwork.
We've kind of neglected the poll question today, David.
Okay.
I mean, we put it up and we've kind of left it alone. We've not really talked about it. With the Bills trading Stephon Diggs, who do you think will win the AFC East?
Have to admit, it's a tough one. I tentatively voted Miami. And
I did as well.
I don't have a lot of faith in it, but I tentatively went with the Dolphins. We will see if, in fact, someone other than the Bills now, without Diggs, will win the division. David Dwork covers the Florida Panthers for Channel 10 in Miami. Also, the hockey news. You can follow David on X at David Dwork, DWORK. David, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, gentlemen. Good morning. It's good to hear from you again.
What the heck's going on with the team that 3 weeks ago was the best team in hockey? What are we talking? 3-7-1, something like that? What's going on?
You know, that's a great question. It's been one that's been asked down here a lot over the last couple of weeks. And it's a little strange to see the Panthers, a team that was playing so well for so long, struggling the way they have been. It all started right around the trade deadline, and you could point to new players coming in. They've had players out of the lineup. Barkov, Ekblad, or Haiti is now out. Ekblad's out again. So, it's been an odd time. You talk to Paul Maurice, and he just says, every team's going to go through this. We're glad to be not glad, but they're going through it now as opposed to during the playoffs, which is, what you want, I guess, compared to the playoffs. But it's a tough time, and hopefully they can figure it out because the playoffs are right around the corner.
the first part of this little skid, they weren't scoring. Now, the second part, they've been scoring a few more goals, but not being able to defend as well. So where is the if you can point your finger to one thing, David, what would it be?
That's a tough question, really, because as you said, it's been a couple of different issues that have popped up over the course of their struggles lately. But I do have to point to the defending as something that's been somewhat consistently off over the last month. And when I say defending, it's not just the defensemen. It's the team that defends is a 5-man unit. They play hockey as a 5-man unit, whether they're rushing up or defending, and that's kind of been the issue. The defensemen have been left out to dry a bit, and they're getting some of the spotlight on them. But it's really been a full team issue. Maurice has even kind of called out some of his forwards and the way they've defended lately. So it's really just a matter of getting everybody back on the same page. And it sounds like a simple enough thing considering they've done it for so long this season, but clearly they're having some issues with it right now.
Is this the best Panthers roster? It went, and let's assume over the next 2.5 weeks, they're going to get healthy for the playoffs. Will this be the best roster that the Panthers have ever taken into the playoffs?
Yeah, without question. I don't even think it's really close. I mean, you could, maybe last year just because it was a similar team, but this is a stacked Florida Panthers group, top to bottom. Whether you're talking about the forward group that's, maybe 5 lines deep right now with the additions they made when they're completely healthy. Their defense is stacked right now. They've got big, tough guys that can skate. And you could argue that their goaltending tandem right now is the best one that they've ever had in franchise history with Bobrovsky and Solars playing the way they've been playing. I agree that this is probably the best Panthers team maybe ever in the 30 years that they've been around. It's a little frustrating just to see how well that they could do this year and what they're doing right now heading into the playoffs. Hopefully they get it straightened out. But if this doesn't work out, then there's going to be a lot of questions to answer because this is a team that's not only a stacked Panthers roster, but they're built for playoff success. That's the whole point of why this team was built this way and why they have this coach and why they play this style. So this is a team that should be poised for a long playoff run. It's what they've been preparing for all season, and the roster is stacked. So yeah, it's a lot of questions that they're going to have to answer if it doesn't work out in a few weeks.
And obviously all will be decided when the playoffs come, but it looks like they could, and you can't tell with the way they're playing, but they should be able to right the ship. Out of the 6 remaining games, there's only 2 against playoff teams. Just showing up and lacing up the skates, they should be able to win 4 of 6. I know they haven't been doing that lately, but when you look at the schedule, it's an opportune time to turn this around, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're lucky to have kind of some of those games that you don't have to face, like, because they've got, the one game against Boston, and they've got one game against Toronto, and that's the last game of the year, so it might not mean anything anyway. But at this point, I don't even think it really matters who they're lining up against. It's just they want to get back to playing their style of hockey, which they've shown they can play and they can beat the best teams in the league when they're on their game. They just got to get back on their game. So, to your point, yeah, it's probably a little fortunate that they don't have to face teams that are going to be in that desperation mode, either trying to make a playoff spot or trying to solidify it. But either way, when you have teams playing spoiler at this time of year, you've got young guys up, and there's all different kind of reasons that teams are going to try to beat you. And with this Panthers team right now, it's just they need to get a win, whether it's tonight in Ottawa, whether it's coming up, Boston on Saturday. This is a team that just need to start collecting wins and feeling good about themselves again before they can start really getting into the playoffs.
David Dwork, he covers the Panthers, Channel 10 in Miami, also for the Hockey News. Chirping the Cats is the podcast. Follow David on X at David Dwork, DWORK. Do you sense now that there's a little bit of urgency, though? Because they were 3 weeks ago, they had the best record in the league. And there's a big difference between being the 1 seed and the 2 seed, if you know what I mean. Never mind being the second place team in your division. They're looking at opening up with the Leafs now in the playoffs. Well, they were in the position the Rangers were in, David, 3 weeks ago. The Rangers are looking at opening up with either the Flyers, the Caps, or the Wings. That's a much easier first-round series. So is there some urgency now with the Panthers?
Just going back, I think the urgency just comes back to them wanting to get back to playing good hockey. This is something that Paul Maurice has spoken about over the last few days, that they're really not, what they're saying, that they're really not concerned about who they're going to play with. You can't really try to line yourself up to play a certain opponent. Yes, seemingly a first-round series against the 8th seed, which right now I believe is Washington, but it could be Detroit. Seems much nicer of a matchup than Tampa would be, especially the way Tampa's been playing right now and the way Vasilevsky's been playing right now. This doesn't even seem like a fair fight comparatively. But again, just kind of going back to what I said before, this is a Panthers team that feels that they can beat anybody when they're on their game. So they're not going to be too concerned whether it's Toronto in the first round, whether it ends up being Tampa, or whether they go on a run. They win 6 straight and they overtake the Rangers and they end up getting Washington or Detroit or whoever ends up getting the 8th seed. This team right now, their goal is the end. Their goal is a Stanley Cup. And they know that to get there, they're going to have to win 3 rounds and they're going to have to play good teams at some point along the line, whether it's the beginning of the playoffs, whether it's in the 3rd round. So the focus with the Panthers right now is just getting back to playing their game. I feel like I'm being repetitive, but I know that's where their heads are at. And with 6 games left in the regular season, that's really the main goal for them.
How about finally, how about the year Reinhardt's having? Only the 2nd Panther to ever have 50 goals in a season. Hasn't been talked about much in the last few weeks, but this is pretty special.
It's been awesome, and good on Sam. You talked about like what a good guy he is off the ice and how much work he's put in this past summer. Like he knew that he was coming into a big season with his contract running out and the team that he had around him and just where he was at physically. And he put in a ton, excuse me, I almost got caught there, a ton of work this offseason to prepare himself for what's happened. And good on him for what has come about because, you know, as you said, the 2nd player in Panthers franchise history to get 50 goals. And he's setting himself up for what should be a pretty lucrative payday this offseason. Now, Sam wants to stay with the Panthers. The Panthers want to keep Sam Reinhart. Odds are that's probably going to be what happens. If I had to put money on what I thought was going to happen, I'd say Sam Reinhart stays in South Florida with the Panthers. But it's been amazing what he's done, and good on him. If this kind of thing is probably not, I wouldn't expect him to become a 50-goal scorer year in and year out. I think, you know, he's going to be a very solid 30-plus goal scorer throughout the prime of his career. But he's really put in the effort to get to where he's at right now, and I couldn't be more happy for where he is and what he's done.
David, thanks for giving us a call. We really appreciate it, and hopefully you'll answer our calls in the weeks ahead.
I got to get on the phone with T-Mobile and figure out what's the problem. That's twice in a row that my phone hasn't run, so I'm glad that we are able to connect this time, and I apologize for that.
No.
But I look forward to chatting in the playoffs.
Listen, it could be our problem as well, but we'll work it out. David, safe travels, and we will talk in the playoffs. David Dwork covers the Panthers, Channel 10 in Miami. He also covers them for the Hockey News, and he has a Florida Panthers podcast called Chirping the Cats. Follow David on X at David Dwork, DWORK.
It's a little hockey speak, but he kept repeating himself and he called himself on it. But that is, you know, I mean, I know Paul Maurice. Those are the things that hockey coaches say. They're not worried about opponents. They're worried about the way they're playing, and they're playing lousy right now.
I could see also why they would say that because, A, they went to the finals last year, so they know how good they are. And in theory, this year, they're even better. So, I mean, let's be honest. Hockey teams are not this arrogant. But deep down in that room, they feel like, listen, if we get our act together, we're the best team. We just have to get our act together.
So we'll see with 6 games left. They play Boston on Saturday. They've got Ottawa tonight, Boston on Saturday, and see if they can turn it around. It's an ABC doubleheader on Saturday.
Oh. I mean, it's not going up against anything. I mean, you know, Final Four and what have you.
Although, no, 1 and 3:30. They got the Lightning are at 1. The Panthers are at 3:30. Little Florida hockey on the weekend during the day on Saturday.
And the basketball is 6 and 9 basically,
right?
And also, it's on Turner on Saturday.
Yes.
Do we know? Is it the championship game Monday? Is that a CBS or is that a Turner thing?
I'd be guessing. I would guess CBS.
So, women's Final Four tomorrow. Nikki Collin will join us, the Baylor women's coach, to preview the women's Final Four. She'll join us on the show tomorrow.
And I think the Panthers can turn it around. The problem is they're going to play Toronto in the first round.
Probably is what it looks like now.
And
probably.
Toronto, that usually only plays 6 or 7 playoff games a year, they're expecting to play a few more finally.
It also goes to show how top-heavy the East is. That Toronto, which thinks of themselves as a pretty darn good team and is probably going to end up having about 105 points in the standings, and they're going to be an underdog in their first-round playoff series. And yet they think they're a cup contender. And they're not even going to be expected to make it out of the first round. But Lightning, by the way, just 4 points behind the Leafs. And they own the tiebreaker because right now they have regulation wins. And the Panthers do own the tiebreaker over the Bruins also because they've got 4 more regulation wins. So if the Panthers, who are 4 points behind Boston, can catch the Bruins, they'll win the tiebreaker.
Right now, the Lightning play one playoff team the rest of the way. 6 games left. The only playoff team they play is a fringe playoff team, and that's Washington.
So you're saying the Lightning could run the table?
I wouldn't at all be surprised.
Well, I know this wouldn't be good, but in a way it'd be great. We'd love Florida, Tampa Bay. I really would. That'd be amazing. And the funny thing is it could happen either way. The Lightning could end the season on a roll and be the first wild card. And if the Panthers catch the Bruins, okay, the Panthers, congratulations for winning the division. Now you have to beat Vasilevsky twice in 2 weeks. Or 4 times in 2
4
weeks.
times, right.
Right. Or if the Lightning catch the Leafs, then they play them that way.
And
So-
Florida would try to run Tampa out of the building when they play them. They would try to hit them nonstop. And Tampa would just be trying to counter.
Mm-hmm.
And styles make a fight. That would be a great series, David.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. So
as you're getting your mock draft on, I'm realizing we got 2 weeks of NHL hockey left, and we're ready to start the playoffs. And they are going to be spectacular in the first round.
Miller and Moulton. Our poll question with the Diggs trade: who you picking to win the AFC East today? Bills, Dolphins, or Jets? And yes, we didn't include the Patriots. Intentionally. Come on now. And I know you could argue, hey, a year ago at this time, would we have put the Texans on the list of teams to win the AFC South? Fair point. But sorry, Patriot fans.
We don't have that kind of faith in you.
No. We don't see Jacoby Brissett as the CJ Stroud. Maybe because we've seen Jacoby Brissett. Miller and Moulton. Have a great rest of your Thursday, except if you're in the 239, the bonus hour's next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail
The
East.
law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Bob, I have to admit, I'm curious as to why. What is it that we do this hour? Is it our approach, what we talk about? I'm curious as to why you enjoy this hour the best. Or is this the only hour you listen to?
David, what are you eating?
Cereal.
Multigrain Cheerios.
Pissing me right off, too. Starving today. Well, I got on the scale on Sunday, and it was a big number again. I'm like, all right, you fat blankety blank.
How about David Dwork catching himself? Okay. He was going to say the S word.
A S ton of.
Yeah, about Reinhardt and how hard he worked. Yep. I asked Realtor Clark, he loves our bonus hour the best, and I asked him why. And then I joked, I go, is this because this is the only hour you listen to? And so he says, no, I've been here all morning. I'm curious. Realtor Clark likes our 9 o'clock hour the best. It's an hour we don't even want to do.
Kilo's dad, like I said, golf yesterday was fun. I played I started on the back, I was and then I played lights out on the front. It was a ball. Yeah, oh no, about to.
Okay. Yeah, how do you hate a guy who gave half of his Final Four net to Gene Katie?
Wow. Wow, he's coming at you.
I deserve it. I deserve it.
Roger's such a nice guy, though. He went to you first. He wouldn't even go straight to him.
Oh.
No.
He did walk in this morning, goes, where's the hater?
Good morning, hater.
Yeah.
It's warranted.
One of the nice guys on the planet, too.
Oh, I can tell.
He's a good dude.
A few interactions I've had. Yeah.
Yeah, if Raj gets mad at you, you've really screwed up. There's like 3 people in that building that when they got mad at us, both Mark and I were like, uh-oh, we really screwed up.
Nothing like the Get Up crew breaking down the hockey fight last night. Ryan Clark.
Is Marcus Spears up there?
No, Kimberly Greeny, and I mean, this is quite a crew breaking down hockey.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is time for the Diamond District bonus hour. Only in the 239, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X, where we're going to sink our teeth into this poll question at some point this hour. You say we neglected it during the nuts and bolts of our show along the network? Well, then we're going to sink our teeth into it now then. So
Fair
there.
enough.
With the Diggs trade, who do you like to win the AFC East now?
I was between the Jets and the Dolphins.
Wow, that's it? You've said the Bills they're nothing but a wild card team now?
Well, I was thinking this before the Diggs trade.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought the Bills might have been on the backside of this run.
Gotcha. Okay.
I am a little surprised to see how many people are jumping ship on the Bills because Stephon Diggs, by his standards, had a down year, and they still were rock solid. Now they're probably going to go draft someone. They did lose Gabe Davis, too. I think that's worth mentioning. So they're going to have to retool that whole room.
Well, they lost both their safeties. All right. They lost their top two wide receivers. I mean, they've pushed a lot out the door here. They're trying to get younger. They're trying to get their future cap in order. And they've done it. But now they have to replace what they've pushed out the door.
How does everybody get a lot of injuries last year on the defensive side of the ball? How does everybody come back from injury? I think that remains to be seen.
Milano is the key. He's a tackling machine. He turns 30, I think, this month, next month, something like that. I mean, I know he plays this year at 30. And he's a slightly undersized middle linebacker who's a tackling machine. And when he got hurt last year, Mark, it was like, I don't know, week 7 or whatever. We both were like, yeah, I don't think they're going to do what they expect to do.
Now, everybody comes back healthy on defense, and Milano plays at the level that he was playing at before the injury, then they're going to be right in the hunt. And they may have to be a different team this year. They may have to be more defense and running the football than they've ever been before.
I mean, remember, the burden's on the Jets and the Dolphins here. Okay, and the Bills, there'll be enough things said about the Bills during the offseason that for the team that's won, 4 straight AFC East, that they can walk into the season with an attitude, with a chip on their shoulder. They'll be able to play the no respect card. I mean, Mark, just from ESPN alone, I mean, they all picked the Jets to win the division last year. Who are they going to pick now to win the division this year?
The Jets.
Right. I'll say this, though. It puts even more pressure on Saleh and McDaniel. I mean, come on now. Don't you think this is fair? If you're the GM or the owner of the Dolphins and the Jets, come on now. You don't get the Bills this year? I don't care what moves they make between now and the draft. I don't even care who they draft. I don't. Unless all of a sudden they're signing Odell Beckham or they sign Michael Thomas and he stays healthy and he plays like he did 4 years ago.
They've got $4 million. They've got $4 million. They're going to free up 10 more. I don't know how many players they can sign beyond their draft class, David.
I agree.
But especially given the way the Dolphins closed the season last year, they had it right there.
Right.
No, but I don't know how much more improving the Bills can do salary cap wise right now. And we had John Scott there talked about they're trying to get younger and cheaper. So it wouldn't really go with what their MO is in this offseason to go out and sign veteran wide receivers.
Well, and let's be honest now. The AFC still loaded. I mean, you don't win your division, you ain't secured a playoff spot. Hell, the whole AFC North finished above 500 last year. 3 of the 4 teams in the AFC South finished above 500 last year. So if you don't win the East, you confident you're going to make the playoffs? Confident?
All right. Just better, worse, the same. Bills.
Worse.
Dolphins.
Worse.
Jets. Got to say they're better because Aaron Rodgers is healthy for the moment.
Okay. I'll say better, even though they lost a pass rusher and they lost a key special teamer. I do think they have upgraded at the tackle position this offseason.
Patriots, it really doesn't matter. Baltimore.
Not better. I'll say same, but not better.
Cleveland.
It's funny. The Browns have actually, I could argue, better. Aren't they going to get Nick Chubb back at some point during the year? Plus, they've made a couple of really nice offseason acquisitions.
Steelers.
Better.
Bengals.
Well, if you assume that you're going to get a full year out of Joe Burrow, you'd say better. Plus, they've kept Higgins. They lost Joe Mixon, but they replaced him with probably 80% guy.
Houston. They're better.
They're better.
The Jags.
Same, maybe. It could be worse. That's tough.
The Colts.
I don't see how they're better. I'd say same.
And I'd say the same about Tennessee.
It's funny, if you're rooting for the Colts this year, do you want Richardson to play 17 games or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Chiefs.
Hold on, though. Don't you think the more games he starts, the less games they'll win? I know you need to just, he's got to get his reps in and the whole deal. But if you're wanting the most wins out of this year, if I gave you 17 starts out of Anthony Richardson or 17 starts out of Joe Flacco, which Colts team would win more?
The Joe Flacco team. Chiefs.
Well, they lost Snead. Rice is going to get suspended for a few games to start the year, for whatever that's worth.
You can say it. They got worse.
I think the Chiefs are worse.
And here's why that answer might be right. The Raiders.
Well, they're better.
The Broncos. I think they're worse.
They were pretty bad last year.
Well, they were 8-9 last year.
I know. They had the one stretch where they won games ugly.
Right.
They're worse.
They're worse. But the Chargers are better.
It's funny, though. They've let a lot walk out the door. It's tough to argue.
They're better just with the damn head coach.
Well, I agree. I mean, Jim Harbaugh over Brandon Staley's worth about 9 wins. I mean, geez. I honestly think the 3 of us coaching the Chargers would have won more games. I really do. I don't say that lightly.
Remember when they even won a game when he went for it on, was it their own side of the field on 4th down late in the game to seal it? But that was even like a horrible decision.
Exactly. It's like, what are you doing?
He got away with it because they won.
He always went for it.
But I mean, as other divisions have gotten better, the AFC East has gotten worse. So your point about the playoff teams not winning the division, getting in, that's kind of where I was going with that.
I just think an unbelievable amount of pressure now on the Jets/Dolphins. That the Bills have given you an opening. The GM of the Bills said yesterday, are we a better team today after making this trade? Not necessarily. And if you're the Dolphins, you had the division last year and blew it. All you had to do was beat the Tennessee Titans at home in December, and you couldn't pull it off. You blew the division. You had it. And the Bills ripped it from you when you, screwed it up. mean, are we sure we're picking the Jets and the Dolphins to win this division over the Bills? I mean, don't we usually subscribe to the you gotta prove it to me first?
Yes, we do.
Heck, that's what the Lions just had to do. I mean, with the Packers coming on strong at the end and the Vikings were the Vikings going into the year, like they were picked to win the division, but until you do that, I mean, they hadn't done it in 30
True.
years.
We all picked the Lions last year to win the North. We picked good things for the Lions last year.
Does that mean the Tampa Bay Bucks are probably the best odds to win their division of the 3 Florida teams?
Yeah. Yes.
You want to play the better, same, or worse game with the Bucks? They kept their big 3. They kept Evans. They kept Baker Mayfield. They kept the corner. I mean, they kind of let parts go.
Right? They made the trade to Detroit. They got rid of the corner that they weren't going to be able to pay.
Right. You know, they let Shaq Barrett go in a cap move.
Devin White's gone. Even though he
But
pretty much been gone for a
I
while.
was going to say he was a spot starter down the stretch anyway. They'd moved the kid from Auburn in ahead of him. So say the same with here's the problem for the Bucks. There's one team in their division that we think has clearly gotten better. Like, we don't think the Saints are better. We think they're the same. Carolina's too far out of the picture.
Right. It doesn't matter.
But we think the Falcons have gotten a lot better.
They have. But the Bucks also have 4 picks out of the first 92 picks in the draft. So if the Bucks are the same, I think they're going to get better in the draft. They're sitting in a good spot. Other teams are not. You look at the Bills and you look at the Dolphins in the draft and you go, what exactly are they going to pull off?
Bucks are going to get a good defensive player. It's just a matter of, are they going to get an edge rusher? Will enough of the edges still be available? Because, like, I think they can get McKinstry. I think the other Alabama corner could be on the board. Like, if you're Tampa Bay right now, I think you're sitting and listening. Give me a choice between McKinstry or Chop Robinson. Okay, that, you know, and if one of them's there, fine. I mean, I think Tampa's getting a defensive starter in the first round. It's just a matter of where.
It's not a matter of getting a defensive starter. It's a matter, are they going to get, you know, with the 4 picks in the first 92, how many starters are they getting? Because you've got to do a little bit like what Detroit did last year. You got to be good with those picks. And Tampa can be right there with Atlanta.
So it's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. With the Bills trading Diggs, who you picking to win the AFC East today? Bills, Jets, or Dolphins? Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was day when? It's about 25 minutes away.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason. And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commission and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from 1/2 carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So if you had to rank the commissioners of the 4 leagues on job performance, how would you go? This was a topic of discussion with my high school buddies last night.
Silver would be last.
Really? I put Manfred last.
I wouldn't. I might put him first right now. The
Why?
pitch clock.
Well, okay.
I mean, he's saving baseball. Baseball had its best year last year that it's had in your baseball may have had its best year in your lifetime last year.
That's a good point. I don't know. Bettman or Goodell is 1, right? And then Silver. I mean, I don't know.
Okay. How can anybody be ahead of Roger Goodell?
Right. Goodell would be 1, Manfred would be 2, and then they could fight it out. I mean, Manfred for what he did in the last year, I know Seth would crucify me for saying it, but I'm sorry. The rule changes in baseball have worked.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say, though, and it very risky, literally put the future of the league at risk, but Gary Bettman helping to engineer the 1-year shutdown ended up being a terrific thing for the NHL. I don't know how Adam Silver is not last. Trent, do you like their product? Yes or no?
The NBA?
Yeah.
I do.
You like the product?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not happy with my team's product this year, and I understand if other people don't like the product. It's not for everybody.
Well, and see, I'm a hockey guy. I don't think the product now is as good as it was last generation. I don't like the game the way it's played now. Yeah. I thought removing the red line would be a good thing. I don't know necessarily if it's been. When we had Nyland on, I kind of agree with a lot of the sentiments he had.
Well, so I'd agree with that. I'd say that about basketball too.
I don't think I think baseball's right now has a shot of getting better again.
The reason why I'm in favor of getting rid of the red line in terms of the 2-line pass and all that is I just think these coaches it basically eliminated the neutral zone trap and the left wing lock.
I know.
And so and that alone I think is why it's a plus.
I agree with you, but sometimes watching it,
I know. Well, also there's no hitting. It's why the playoff product is so good because they'll go back to hitting each other. And yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy about the regular season hockey product. It's just, to me, it's how preseason NHL games used to look 20, 30 years ago. It's just a lot of skating around the perimeter.
And I might feel differently in both leagues if I were living out west where I watched more West Coast games. I mean, watching McDavid and McKinnon on a nightly basis is unbelievable. Who do you think is the best QB pick for the Bears? I'm a Daniels guy. I will go on record saying I think he'll be the best quarterback in this draft.
I'm worried about the USC kid in Chicago. I don't know if he's at it. I'm very worried about what the USC players had to say about him. They basically said they didn't think he was a good teammate. That concerns me. Edmonton's going to have to beat Vegas just to get out of the first round. They're not going to beat Vegas. Poor Winnipeg. Put this really nice season together, and they're going to have to play Colorado in the first round. It was cute, guys.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Some final thoughts, a pick or two coming up. Marlins playing today, or can they not lose today? You know, to talk about a team that needs a rain out. Needs an off day on the schedule. Whew, man.
Marlins are in St. Louis today.
Oh, boy. Man.
The account's running low.
Yeah, well, we've had a lot of losses in a row.
We've had a lot of losses, David.
I mean, in fact, us and the Marlins and the Florida Panthers have been playing about the same.
No, we're more like the Marlins than we are the Panthers in our last 5, David. Even the Panthers squeaked out a win against the Red Wings last week.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But, yeah, you got some winless baseball teams in action today. Mets have 2 chances to win their first game of the year. At least they were smart. They didn't try to wait out a 3-4 hour rain delay yesterday. They canceled that game early. They said, hey, how about we take your off day away from you, Detroit, and we'll play 2.
Don't we just wait till the first game's over and bet whoever lost the first game and the second game?
Totally. Trent, we are so into betting splits in doubleheaders.
I'm kind of with you on that, especially in this day and age where there's the analytics and the lineups are all funky and you never really know what you're going to get. Split them.
So noon and 3 o'clock is when Mets and Tigers are scheduled to play their double dip. So around 2-ish, around 2:30, Mark, be paying attention.
Gotcha.
Just go the other way. But, man, 0-7. So how many more games do they have to lose before you start trading guys if you're the Marlins? I mean, let's face it. We all know once they determine they're out of it, they start trading people. So, seriously, how many more do we have to go? I mean, can they make it to the Masters before the sell-off begins?
If they got to 10 and I were the GM, I would trade someone just because.
Don't you have to cut somebody if you get to 0-10?
No, I'd trade somebody. And make sure I was sending them somewhere where I knew they were going to be designated for assignment.
I am loving the curse of Kim Ang. I really do. I absolutely loving it because the only other time the Marlins in the last 20 years had made the playoffs in a full season, was the pandemic shortened season. It was the 60-game regular season. So, I mean, it counts, but I mean, honestly, she puts a team together. They won enough games in a 162-game season. They made the playoffs. And they said, hey, thanks, job well done. We're going to demote you. I'm sorry, what?
See, I should feel that way, but I don't. I feel awful for the Marlins right now because Kyle Seelaf has been great to us.
He has.
Comes on the show whenever we ask. He painted a glass half full picture for the Marlins and knew and said it while he was painting the glass half full picture, said, I could be wrong and this could really go badly if X, Y, and Z happen. And
it's going badly.
It's really going badly.
Yeah, 0-7. That's tough to do, especially all at home. Yeah. Not only that, you're playing the Pirates and the Angels. I mean, they set you up with 2 teams who are expected to have losing records. Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what, we'll have no trouble getting Kyle on the show in the future. I mean, if he's broadcasting a team that's like 3-14, he'll be texting us back though, going, how how hard is this going to be? Oh, it's going to be pretty hard. They're going to, come after you pretty good.
Some of these losses haven't been close either.
No,
I mean, obviously
they've got
10-2,
they had 2 extra inning games, but for the most part, they've been getting whooped.
7-4, 9-3, 7-2. Mark texted David and I the other day, said Marlins just got mollywopped. Nice little callback to our mollywop word.
And they were.
So that's all. I understand 155 more games to go. I get it, the whole deal. But I just having a little fun at the Marlins' expense. How many more do they have to lose before they're basically mathematically eliminated in our minds and we can start the sell-off right now?
That just stinks.
How would you like to be in their marketing department?
All you can eat.
Right.
Bring your instruments.
What's it that they outlawed, though? We can't bring the garbage cans? I think if this continues, honestly, if you show up, we'll let you bring anything you want outside of a gun. Okay,
No
no
garbage
on the
cans.
guns.
No
Everything
vuvuzelas. I'm sorry. I could never allow a vuvuzela into a building.
Come on, really? They come home, they're like 1 in 12. You're not going to allow somebody in with a vuvuzela? Don't you just hope that they have a chance to blow it? Hey, they're playing the vuvuzelas. We must be doing okay.
You didn't like that during the World Cup in South Africa, 2010?
No.
I thought it was great.
What?
It's a constant.
What is wrong with him?
A constant buzz. It was fun. It was uplifting. It was energetic.
Uplifting?
Uplifting?
Yes.
It was annoying.
It's a bunch of happy people.
Blowing a plastic horn.
My brother had one for Team USA.
I believe.
Yeah, I believe.
I believe that we will.
I believe that we will.
Yeah, we'll do something.
Yeah, we will. I believe that we won't qualify for the 2018 World Cup.
That was so bad. What are we doing?
I know. That was great. Taylor Twelman, what are we doing? Hey, in our Twitch chat room, all right, gentleman just threw out there and said, is Penix going to be the Lamar of this draft? Because remember, Ravens traded back into the first round to take Lamar at 32. Now, Josh Allen was also in that draft, but there are 3 other guys who were in that draft who, I mean, you had Baker, you had Darnold, you had Josh Rosen.
Ooh.
Yeah. Lamar at 32 looking pretty good. Yeah.
I moved on from Josh Rosen after 1 season.
And he never landed anywhere.
Never started again, I don't think.
I know the Dolphins were trying to start him. I know they did in the preseason. I don't know if he started a game.
I don't believe he ever started a game for him.
But
what do you think about that? Penix, you think he's the Lamar? You think someone's going to get a steal?
Well, I'll say this. I think Penix will be a better NFL player than Bo Nix. I'm not a Bo Nix guy. I'm not. I'm just not. Maybe it's because I saw him at Auburn. And I didn't see him every day or multiple times when he was at Oregon. But I'm not a Bo Nix guy in the NFL. Hey, a clipboard, number 2, number 3 quarterback, sure. But
Penix played against one elite defense all year.
And he was awful.
And he was bad. When they pushed the pocket again, that great offensive line, when they pushed the pocket at all in that Michigan game, he looked scared. And I liked Penix. I was excited to see that Michigan game the way he threw the game before. I'm like, oh, okay, this should be something.
And the reason you bring up Penix and Nix together is because those are the 2 guys that are kind of looking at late first. Or in some of these mock drafts, David, like you love to bring up, Bo Nix is climbing. He's skyrocketing.
Bo Nix goes 12 to Denver in many a mock draft.
Yeah, that's absurd to me. 12.
It's been out there for a while, though, that Sean Payton likes Bo Nix.
And they're not going to waste any draft capital to move up, so they'll take him when he's there, and they're pretty sure he'll be there.
Yeah, he very clearly likes him more than he likes Russell Wilson because they're paying a lot of money to get rid of Russ.
It is funny. The cap hits that Denver and Buffalo are taking for Russell Wilson and Stephon Diggs. Get out of my face! I hate the way you look! Get out of here! I don't know if I've had anybody dislike me that much. And I've been through a divorce. Miller and Moulton.
I have.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So Andrew Siciliano's gone from the NFL Network.
Really?
Yeah, Andrew Marchand just tweeted out that Siciliano, Melissa Stark, James Palmer, and Will Selva all gone.
Melissa Stark?
Yeah. Don't know what she did for the NFL Network, but she's
I was going to say, because she's on NBC. Huh. Is this cost cutting?
Yes.
Yeah. It is laughable when the NFL makes moves for cost cutting reasons, right? I mean,
Right.
Anybody else find the absurdity behind that? I will say Siciliano, big ears. He was very popular in the house. Everybody loves Siciliano.
He's good on air.
Those look funny though with those ears.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised he didn't have surgery of some kind.
An ear reduction surgery?
Well, no, I think isn't there a way they could have just found a way to? I mean, because they literally they flailed out like a clown. Okay, and I'm surprised he didn't, especially doing television.
Right, that's the thing is when you're in front, it's distracting.
You do radio, you put these headphones on, it doesn't matter. You know, the headphones do the work for you, but I'm a little surprised.
Could have got him up to points and gone like the whole Dr. Spock thing.
Sure. Yeah, he was very good on Red Zone. But I mean, those ears flailed out so much you could have put ads on them. I mean, that's how visible they were.
Listen to the two fat guys talk about someone's ears.
I was going to say, talk about a guy who got out of TV because 3D was coming in, and it was like, oh, HD. It's like, this ain't going to work well for me. Bang, bang. How'd that surgery go for your cousin? Did it work? Trent, you're getting props for your Purple Rain shirt.
I love this shirt. I wore my purple shorts to match it.
Nice.
When the time comes, we are not going to be able to replace you. I'll tell you that.
It is a great album, though. Some hidden gems. Everyone knows Let's Go Crazy and Purple Rain and When Doves Cry, but there's 6 other songs. Pretty good.
I say we bet the Knicks tonight at home against Sacramento. They've lost 3 in a row.
Why not? I'll agree with you.
It's -3.5.
You don't want to bet the Marlins.
Home opener for the Cardinals.
We don't have a lot of bets left in this account.
I understand.
We got to hit a boost.
Well, I can get my money back on the Flyers now. The early cash out's over what I paid.
It's your call.
I would take it. Or let it ride.
A lot of conviction there.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Wrapping up the Thursday edition and the Diamond District bonus hour of Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question: with Diggs being traded by the Bills, who do you like to win the AFC East now? Sticking with the Bills, or you're going with the Dolphins or the Jets? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X.
I picked the Dolphins.
Today I picked the Dolphins. I'm not happy about it. I'm not confident about it.
I don't know if I'll flip-flop like Trent during that commercial break between now and the start of the season.
That was pathetic.
But every question that we asked of Trent during the break, he gave both answers.
He sure did. Yep. Enthusiastically. I say yes. Well, then maybe no. Oh, good. Thanks.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1789. The first Congress began regular sessions today. 1841. John Tyler becomes our 10th president after the death of William Henry Harrison. 1937, Byron Nelson wins the Masters. 1964, the Beatles' Can't Buy Me Love shoots to number 1. It would stay there for 5 weeks. Today in 68, a sad day in our nation's history, Martin Luther King was shot and killed. 73, the World Trade Center opens.
You know, it officially opened. It's like they did the ribbon cutting, but they actually allowed tenants as early as December of 70. There were actually people who were working out of the World Trade Center 28 months before they did the ribbon cutting.
Well, that's really anticlimactic.
It's a big building, I mean, it's just, the bottom floors, got finished a lot earlier than, floor 113 there.
Bill Gates and Paul Allen founded this little company named Microsoft today in 1975.
Huh.
Today in 83, NC State takes care of Houston. They'd make a 30 for 30 about this.
They got Hakeem Olajuwon on the bench with oxygen.
Mm-hmm. At the pit in New Mexico.
Gretzky set the NHL record with 213 points today in 86. Danny Manning helped Kansas to a title today in 88.
Danny and the Miracles. One of the great, it was a terrific game. But the first half, Kansas and Oklahoma, 50-50 at the half. And then in the second half, Kansas said, yeah, we can't do that pace for the whole game. We're going to slow this sucker down.
Arkansas would beat Duke for their title today in 94. North Carolina beat Illinois in 05.
Good game.
It was. UConn takes down Butler today in 2011.
Horrendous game.
Nova beat North Carolina in 2016.
On the shot.
And Kansas comes back from down 16 to beat North Carolina 2 years ago.
That was my senior year of college. We're all together. We're all rooting like hell against North Carolina. That was electric.
Yeah, I don't know if two teams that I dislike more could play for a national title than Kansas and UNC.
Huh?
Those are my two least favorite. It was a guy I worked for in Nashville, David. He was one of the dumbest people that I've ever worked for. And David, that list is long.
Oh, wow.
He was gifted the job, knew nothing about hockey, and was a terrible boss. I mean, there was no one in the building, and he loved Kansas. And I loathed Kansas because of that, and always have.
Oh, wow.
Tris Speaker, Muddy Waters, Gil Hodges, Ray Fosse, hockey coach Pat Burns, and actor Heath Ledger, all born today. Golfer Joanne Carter is 85 years old today. Robert Downey Jr. is 59, and Robert Luongo is 45 years old today. What did I miss, David?
On this day in 1960, Mark, the movie Ben-Hur won 11 Academy Awards. 11. That's a good day at the office. On this day in 74, 50 years ago today, Hank Aaron tied Babe Ruth.
I had that written down and went right past it.
Hit number 714. Very first pitch he saw opening day against the Reds in Riverfront. And the Braves wanted to pull him immediately from the lineup. In fact, the Braves didn't want to play Hank Aaron because they started on the road with a 3-game series in Riverfront. And they were worried he was going to break the record on the road. And they wanted him to break it at home. And the Braves were actually threatened by Commissioner Bowie Kuhn and told publicly, you have to play him in at least 2 of the 3 games in Cincinnati. So the Braves sweated out the rest of that game and another game at Riverfront, hoping that Hank wouldn't homer so that he could come home. And 4 days later, he homered against Al Downing and number 715.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to Rhode Island, where Stephen Richard was having breakfast with his dad, and Dad gave him a $10 scratcher.
Okay.
Here, son, have a scratcher. He didn't scratch it off then. He scratched it off later in the day. It was a $4 million winner.
Whoa! Hey, I got a question. If you buy a lottery ticket like that wins multiple millions of dollars, do you go back and give money to the person who sold it to you?
Well, in this case, you'd have to, track. Dad would have to tell you who sold it to him. But yeah, I definitely would.
So you would go back to wherever it is you buy your tickets. You would go back to them and you'd say, "Hey, won't remember me, what have you?" But and then what do you slide them?
Absolutely.
A few
Depends on the
thousand?
winnings, but I'd give them something.
Well, what I'm saying, like if you win a $1 million or more lottery ticket, would you then come back and
You
give
think
somebody?
$5,000's appropriate for the worker that sold you the ticket?
Yeah, I do. Just wondering if you'd do it. That's all. Trent would do it while wearing a Lions jersey. He'd show up as Al Bubba Baker.
No,
Lomas Brown.
I'd upgrade the season tickets, be in that front row by the tunnel.
For the bad, we go to North Carolina, where parents at Alston Ridge Elementary School have been put in a precarious position during car line. A wild turkey has been causing chaos in the carpool line, refusing to move and pecking at any cars or people who dare to approach him. Cary Animal Services thought they had been successful in chasing away the turkey from the school, but the bird made its way back and planted itself right next to the patrol vehicle. There is a photo on Facebook showing Principal Nico Shute chasing the turkey away with an umbrella. For now, the turkey is gone. We'll keep you updated.
That's what Sean Connery did in Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Chase with the umbrella. Get
all the birds to fly up, crash the plane. Well done.
Indiana
well done.
Jones.
Are we sure this is the best approach to get rid of a turkey?
No, shooting it's the best way to get rid of it.
I understand that, but
it's really easy. It's mating season for the turkey. They're very territorial during this time, David. It's an angry bird.
So he was carving out the territory next to the vehicle? That's where he mates?
Mates wherever he wants to.
I mean, I can understand if he did it in the back seat, but next to it? No.
He's an exhibitionist.
Gotcha.
Finally, the ugly, we go to Captiva Island, which there's really nothing ugly about Captiva Island except for these two punks from Kentucky that were on vacation. And they stole a golf cart from YOLO Water Sports. They brought the cart back a few hours later and put it in the same spot, except for the cart valued at $14,000 had $4,000 worth of damage done to it. The two teens were arrested. And Grant Neal and Jack Fisher have some explaining to do to their parents while they were on vacation on Captiva. Two little rich punks stealing a golf cart and may have just ruined their lives. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April the 4th, 2024.
Why steal a golf cart when you can just steal a canoe, right, David?
Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. But, I'm in Florida now. I'd steal the golf cart now. But in Jersey back in the day when I was, like those two kids from Kentucky, I stole the canoe. Didn't get much use out of that either.
Lightning and Panthers both in action tonight. The Lightning are at Montreal, where they're a big favorite. The Panthers are at Ottawa, where they are an equally big favorite. Both of them about minus 150 to win tonight.
Big night in the NHL, though. Boston's at Carolina. Boston trying to stay ahead of Florida, track down the Rangers for the top overall seed. Carolina trying to track down the Rangers for the division title and the top overall seed. But also, the Penguins have won a few games here. Mathematically, they think they're still in it. They're in Washington against the Caps.
And the Islanders have Columbus, I believe. And the Islanders have been winning some games. They're only a point behind Washington.
Right. But also, this Washington game is like one of their games in hand. They've got, a game in hand on Detroit and 2 games in hand on Philly. So this is one of their games in hand against both Detroit and Philly tonight. They're home, Ovechkin against Sid. And for what it's worth out west, St. Louis at Nashville, an absolute must for the Blues. They're 5 points out of the final playoff spot with time running out. NBA, 5 games on the docket. Heat are hosting the Sixers. That could be a 7-8 play-in game, although the Heat are tied for 6th right now and own the tiebreaker on Indiana. But be interesting to see, do they play Embiid after a day off? You know, I mean, they've all but said they have, I think, one back-to-back left on their schedule, and they've said, yeah, Embiid's not playing 2 days back-to-back. But he played Tuesday, off day. Now the Heat. Do they play Embiid tonight? And if so, how much? Right now, Philly's the 8th seed. I mean, let's be honest. I don't think the play-in scares them, but they want to be the 7. If you know what I mean. They want Milwaukee in the first round. They don't want Boston.
No, they want to get their legs under them before they have to play the Celtics.
Right. Knicks are home against Sacramento. Knicks have lost 3 in a row. I say we bet the Knicks tonight, lay the 3.5.
All right.
That they're not going to lose 4 in a row.
If you say so.
I understand you take my words of wisdom these days with a pound of salt because for the last 3 weeks I've sucked. I get it. I hear it in your voice and I understand it.
I made the bet.
Okay. And then you can decide whatever baseball plays that we want to do because how many games do we have? And we have 6 baseball games, but the Tigers and the Mets have a doubleheader. You want to bet the second game, whoever loses the first, right?
Correct.
Okay. And do we keep betting the Marlins until they win?
Well, you didn't want to bet them today because it's the Cardinals' home opener.
Right.
Do we just use that as our free space on the bingo card and we'll get back after it tomorrow?
Well, in theory, you should bet them every day. We bet them when they were 0-6 because we're like, they're not going to start 0-7. Now that they're 0-7, you should bet them because they're not going to start 0-8.
Right. Not a lot of confidence in this group betting the Marlins today.
No, I don't want to go bankrupt betting the 0-7 Miami Marlins. No. But we should. I know it's the smart bet to make. I mean, come on. Lose 8 in a row to start the season. What's the odds of that?
Well,
Curse of Kim Ang.
What are the odds of losing 26 straight games in an NBA season? That happened. Not at the start, but it happened.
After a 2-1 start, too, it happened.
Hot start.
Let's not
hot
get crazy.
2-1.
Let's not get crazy. They were lukewarm. Okay, they were lukewarm.
If Joel Embiid's out, I'm taking Bam Adebayo to score 20-plus points. Is boosted to plus 275. If Embiid's out. If Embiid plays, I don't like that.
That's a good boost.
It's a great one. I wonder if they'll take it down if they find out Embiid's playing.
That's why you got to bet it now and just.
Oh, you're so right. Oh, the boost. They'll hook you.
Is that going to be his nickname, by the way? Trent the Boost Bally?
Boost. I'm just going to call him Boost from now on.
Miller, Moulton, and Boost. Thanks for spending your Thursday with us. We'll talk tomorrow.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you